All right. We are finally back after a 1 week vacation, which was entirely Jez's fault, by the way. I am one of your hosts, Randall Thor 19, the man with the million, and we are here with, I think, episode 223, I want to say? Something around there.
Yeah, that sounds right.
So something around there, but what's going on, everybody? I'm here, and with me, as always, since he hasn't been on in 2 weeks, because not only did he miss this past week, which we had to cancel the entire show because, Jez was like, I gotta spend it with family, mate. He also missed the special episode when we had Paris Lillian and Miles Dompier and Colt Eastwood because it was so hot. It was so hot his PC was melting.
Oh yeah,
turn it off.
I found out what was wrong with my PC, man.
What was?
There was a beard hair. Had
a beard hair
inside. A beard hair was inside, like in the fan, stopping it from spinning. A beard hair.
A beard hair prevented you from joining the podcast with Paris, Miles, Colt, and King David. Yeah. Is that what you're really saying to us right now?
Yeah, the beard hair was causing my laptop to overheat and turn off. So yeah, that's I had no idea it got in there, but
But it was an epic podcast.
I got a lot of beard hairs.
It was a shame we missed it.
Yeah, I couldn't do anything. Couldn't work either. I had no laptop.
Jeez.
Yeah, we're back. We're back, baby. And yeah, it's gone cool again now. The heat wave's over. It's a nice 60 Fahrenheit where I am right now. So I'm pretty happy about that. You've been good, man? You've been all right?
Yeah, I've been all right.
Did you miss me?
Relsky says maybe it's time for a shave. Maybe it is. Maybe you got to get rid of all that unwanted hair, Jez.
Shall I shave it? Sometimes I think I probably should shave it. It's getting a bit.
I mean, it's
getting a bit extreme.
I saw your picture with you without a beard. You should probably keep the beard. You should probably keep the beard.
Maybe I should keep the beard. I don't know.
Yeah, but you need to trim it. We can't be like, hey, let's do an episode of Xbox 2. Well, on a week when there's a ton of information to talk about. Not this week, of course, because there's really nothing to talk about outside of a few small things. But we got to do the show because apologize to everybody, Jez. People wanted to see the show. People were missing you because you missed the week before. And you're just like, I can't because I got to spend time with my family. Like, kind of excuses
man.
Man? What kind of excuses
well, nah.
I know. And Pete says in the chat, but Jez still managed to make it to the Iron Lords, though. I'm like, yeah, right. He's like, he skipped Xbox 2 Friday and Saturday, and then was like, I'm gonna do Iron Lords on Sunday.
Yeah, I couldn't do it on Saturday because I was seeing family, but I fixed my laptop that day. I took it apart. I had to buy some screwdrivers because these tiny ass Razer T3 screws, they need a special screwdriver. Man, but now I've got the screwdriver. I'm also going to upgrade my RAM. I'm going to go to 64 gigabytes of RAM in my laptop. I don't know if that means much, but yeah, everyone's saying like, what are you now, Vin Diesel? Yeah, I am Vin Diesel. I subscribe to the Church of Vin Diesel. Family comes first, Rand.
Mm-hmm.
But now, I'm visiting the UK and I'm going back to Germany in a few weeks. So I'm trying to desperately see as many of family and friends as I can before I go back to Germany, and then I can't see them again for a few months. So, yeah, my Saturdays are very much family only at the moment. Seeing different family every Saturday, which means we have to do podcasts on Friday. Well, no day has to be on Friday for the next few weeks.
I mean, hey, you can't miss it. We were doing really well. We had a whole bunch of shows in a row, all of them on Fridays. Gaz is extremely happy because we're not doing it on Saturdays. So
that's true. That is true.
So since
Rand,
I haven't talked to you in like 2 weeks. How you been?
Yes.
How you been? You been
all right?
Good,
man. I've been good. I've been taking it a little bit easy. I'm not gonna lie. E3, even though it wasn't truly E3, still a lot of hard work. And like once it was all said and done, I was just like, man, I need to chill a little bit. We did a lot of podcasts the couple of weeks leading into E3, a lot of guest shows, stuff like that. But yeah, we got there in the end. And I'm all recovered now. I'm not sick anymore. I had that really strange illness, which I don't even know if it was COVID or not. Maybe it was COVID. Apparently, there's a new subvariant now in the UK, which doesn't show up on the current iteration of tests. So maybe I did have some kind of COVID that week. I don't know. But I'm all cured now. And I'm hyped on Monster Energy Ultra, zero sugar, and carnitine and taurine. That's what's in. Probably going to give me tumors or something. But we're very hyperactive and very energetic, and we're going to have a good show, I think, Rand. Going to have a good show. But Rand,
yes.
Before we continue, I need to tell you about our lovely product sponsor this week.
Who's it this week? Has it been the same as the past 10 months or 9 months or whatever?
Indeed. Once again, we're sponsored by Manscaped. And Rand, I've got a new product to talk about this week, Rand.
Didn't you know? You just told me you just got out of the shower and you used your Manscaped products, didn't you?
I did. You know, I put my money where my mouth is and my mouth where my balls are. No. Let's not go that way.
What?
Okay, let's just do this ad read quickly and forget what I just said. Crotch discomfort hurting your game? Fear no more. The kings of crotch comfort, Manscaped, have spent 2 years designing the most comfortable boxer briefs out there. Sleek, soft, comfortable, and flexible, the new Boxers 2.0 from Manscaped take your balls to the royal ball throne.
Royal ball throne. Maybe you should be using. You know, people in chat are saying you should be using Manscaped to shave your beard so you don't miss a podcast.
Yeah, maybe I should. The global leaders in below the waist grooming have the Lawnmower 4.0 for the trimming, so you can wear the Boxers 2.0 for the chillin'. They even trademarked the jewel pouch trademark, so pouch? You know it's serious. The jewel pouch.
What's that for?
The jewel pouch.
What do you put the?
It's like a. What do you? It's where the family jewels go in the Boxers 2.0.
Oh, okay.
Dude, it's actually really cool. I'm wearing the Boxers 2.0 right now as we speak.
Oh.
And they have the jewel pouch, which has like a special option, so you can like take it out and your business without taking the whole kit off.
Is that where the Xbox leaks go into, the jewel pouch?
Yeah. Yes. The jewel pouch has plenty of room for your balls and also Xbox documents. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. So yes, Rand, I think it's time to invest in your family jewels to let your bulge breathe and get 20% off and free shipping using our code XB2 at manscaped.com. That's code XB2, XB, and the number 2 in the checkout at manscaped.com. And thanks once again to manscaped.com trademark for sponsoring this podcast.
You're working good on your American accent there.
I think it's the Monster Energy drink, man. It's made me really hyperactive, which is
good.
Probably a bad thing. I'm probably going to be awake all night now, aren't I? Yeah, probably.
Probably, but it's a good thing because we want you to be excited. We want you to talk about some of these. I guess people be like, "Well, get Jez drunk so he can leak some Xbox stuff." But
yeah, I got no alcohol left. Lovely Fletch, who sometimes checks out our show. He sent me a really nice bottle of Bushmills Irish whiskey. And I drank it all in one day, and I have no idea how my liver survived this. But yeah, we got through it. Everyone's saying jewel pouch will never be the same. I had jewel box. Yeah, the jewel. It's serious, man. The jewel pouch is serious business. It's not just a cool brand. The Boxers 2.0 are genuinely great. Like I thought Boxers 1.0 were good, but Boxers 2.0 take it to the next level. Right?
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say while we kind of get into these topics, you guys do us a big favor if you're watching. Make sure you hit the like button and please share this out on social media. Let people know that the Xbox 2 is back after a 1 week break. Because sometimes people forget, or hell, I don't think I've tweeted in a week. So, which I need to tweet more, don't you think? I don't know.
do.
I do,
You need to
but
tweet
I just
more.
don't.
You need to make more videos.
I knew
Dude, there was a
that's
point in
true.
time where we had the same amount of followers on Twitter at one point in time.
Yeah, but
And
you
I've
got
laughed
verified, bro. You got the check mark. You're part of the cool kids
You
crew
have to
on
check
Twitter.
mark too.
No, I don't have the check mark. I tried getting
You can-
verified, and they're like, who? No, only Jez. And I'm like, okay.
You get verified for 100,000 subscribers, I think. So everyone better help Rand get to 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year.
I'm just saying.
But maybe you have to make some bloody videos to get some more subscribers.
Yeah, I suppose, but you know,
Come on, everyone constantly DMs me like we miss the Rand videos. We want to know what Rand thinks. You know.
Yeah, but hit the like button, share this out, let people know we are live, and got a couple super chats here I want to get to before we got a lot of topics here to talk about. Even though it's kind of been a slow couple new weeks here, we got there's a big Activision Xbox update. It's looking pretty good for that deal going through at this point, huh? It's kind of turning the corner. I know a lot of people were like, I don't think this is going to happen. It's kind of, I've even seen like investors being like, okay, this is going to go. You might as well buy some Activision stock, right?
Yeah, I think it's a foregone conclusion at this point.
Foregone. Is it as much of a foregone conclusion as Starfield releasing in 2022 was, Jez?
Oh, well.
You never
Wasn't it you who said it would launch in 2021 at one point? Oh
no, I didn't. I never said such a thing.
Oh, who said that?
Someone said just that. People were telling me that that it was possible, but I was just like, I was just relaying that info. I didn't know, but I wasn't out there being like, because remember, my dream was an Xbox 2021 with Halo, Forza, and Starfield releasing, and we got 2 of the 3. And then it was like, all right, well, Starfield's next year, so that's good. And then it was like, nah, Starfield's delayed. Okay. But, it was funny because I just remember telling you there's a chance Starfield could get delayed. And you were just like, there's 0% chance. Never going to happen. Not happening. And then it happened.
Well, you can never know. Development is a tumultuous, especially in the pandemic, man. But I never said that was a leak. I just believed, man. I had the faith. Rand's got company. And I've got police ambulances outside now. Police ambulances? That's not a thing. Oh, Rand. Wow.
All right. Sorry about that.
Who's that?
Just my dog is kind of.
You gotta tell him.
My dog is kind of barking because it's raining outside. He doesn't like the rain, especially if there's like lightning and thunder. So,
is there a storm?
Yeah, there's a storm in Chicago. So, anyways, yeah. So, Achievement in the super chat says, it feels like months since we've had a pod. That's true. It does. Usually you miss a week, and it does feel like a long time, right? Like it feels like longer than you would imagine, especially for Jez because he's missed 2 weeks, even though
it feels like ages.
We were supposed to do Iron Lords together 1 week, and then he bailed on that. He bailed on me again, and then he did Iron Lords.
I was just tired.
We were supposed to do it, and then you were like, no. So you did it the following week. So, and
I was tired, man.
Yeah, Shabs Inevitable says, "Why is Xbox controllers sold out everywhere in the UK? Why is it, Jez? What's up with that?"
I don't know, man. I didn't even know that was a thing. Is that a thing?
Apparently, there's supply issues for the Xbox controllers. Indeed, yes.
Well, I'm just going to blame Brexit for that one. Thanks, Brexit. The gift that keeps on giving. Nah, truth be told, I have no idea. No idea, but there'll probably be more on the way at some point. If I go on the website, there is controllers available. On Microsoft. Oh, actually, no, that's the American website. Never mind. I'm lying. I'm a big filthy liar, apparently. So if I go on, let's go on to the. No, there is Xbox controllers available. The Xbox 20th anniversary special edition. No, there is controllers available. What are you guys talking about? There's literally controllers available on Microsoft.com right now on Code.uk. All different colors, shapes, and sizes. So yeah, if you want to buy an Xbox controller. Oh, actually, no, it does say sold out. Never mind. I'm lying again.
Yeah. I'm not surprised.
Oh, well.
You do that quite a bit sometimes, right?
Wow, that's mean. But yeah, I don't know. All the supply chains are screwed up across the whole board, I guess. It does seem like there are some controllers available in certain colors, but the standard black and white ones just seem to be sold out, I guess. I don't know. There should be a bunch on eBay. I mean, I would buy a second-hand controller because, like, who cares if a controller's second-hand, right? I mean, as long as it works. It might have someone's Manscaped juice on it, I guess, but
Yeah,
depending on what game they've been playing.
Yeah, I mean, what controller am I using right now? I'm using the Aqua Shift, and I still have my 20th anniversary my Forza controller that I haven't used yet, but I'll use those eventually. So, got another super chat here from Hey Blinken Jez. Red, black, or pinto beans?
Think I've had any of those beans. I mean, red beans. What are those? Are those what you guys call kidney beans?
Maybe. I think
kidney
so.
beans are red.
Yeah,
I do like
I
kidney
so.
beans. If red beans are kidney beans, I do like kidney beans a lot.
I like kidney beans as well. You know who I might be meeting this weekend, Jez? I'm kind of excited.
Who? Phil?
So, yeah. Lord Cognito's coming to Chicago this weekend.
Oh wow! Where's Cognito?
Me and Cognito we're planning on meeting up either Saturday or Sunday. Maybe go get some food. So
hit the town, drink some whiskey.
You jealous, bro? You jealous? Me and Lord Cognito hanging out and stuff.
I am jealous. Cognito's awesome.
Yes,
I'm jealous that he gets to meet you as well, man. I just want to hang out with the boys. I'm coming to Chicago as well. Screw it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna look up how much is a ticket to Chicago.
Probably pretty expensive to come to Chicago.
Let's have a look.
It is I don't know. It's really, really, really hot right now in Chicago. Like not today. Today was a little cool, but tomorrow's supposed to be high 80s, and then Sunday is supposed to be in the mid 90s. So like it's I don't know if you'd be able to survive because you don't like the heat. Your computer doesn't like the heat.
What's the name of Chicago's airport? O'Hare International.
Midway or O'Hare?
Midway. Let's look at Midway.
O'Hare is the international airport. So
okay, let's go flights for Midway. Let's have a look. Midway search. I haven't been to the States for years, man. There was a point in time where I'd be in the States like maybe 2 or 3 times a year. And nowadays it's just like since the pandemic, pretty much nobody does travel anymore. Oh my god, it's expensive. Why is it so expensive? I thought, where is Chicago? Isn't Chicago on the East Coast?
It's in sort of like middle of the country, but more on the eastern side, I guess. If you don't. Jesus. It's not like directly in the middle.
If I wanted to fly to Chicago next week from Birmingham Airport, it costs £2,400, which is like basically $3,000. That's not happening. Sorry, Rand. We'll never see each other ever again.
We'll just have to maybe next year for E3, possibly if they ever do something, right? I don't know.
Yeah, hopefully my company will send me there, but I can't afford to pay that much for anything. Maybe I'll pay $3,000 for, I don't know, a Windows phone if that came back.
Right.
But that's the only thing. Maybe. Should we get some topics?
Well, we actually got a
chat,
question for you from Wolf Assassin in the super chat. He says,
"That's very generous, Wolf."
Hey Jez, when is your Xbox in Japan story coming on Windows Central? Remember, because you did promise that a while back. I remember this.
Yeah.
Really interested to hear. Anyone else noticing more Japanese gamers tweeting about Xbox? If chat sees any on Twitter, be sure to welcome them to the family. So.
Yeah, I have seen more Japanese people tweeting about Xbox lately, and if you look at the Xbox Japan YouTube channel, it's seen some pretty decent growth. It's still pretty small, but it definitely feels like the cogs are turning, and that's actually one of our topics is talking about Xbox in Japan. And to answer your question, Mr. Assassin, thank you very much for that generous super chat. But it's in the schedule for next week, and actually, it was in the schedule for this week. But then my boss was like, I need you to write about Amazon Prime Day instead. So, unfortunately,
Prime, yes.
Yeah, Amazon Prime Day is almost upon us, and yeah, that's a big trading period for us. So I had to write some stuff about that. So it got pushed back a week, but hopefully I'll be writing about the status of Xbox in Japan at the moment, and it's kind of like, because I haven't been able to get anyone from Microsoft to talk to me about the status of Xbox in Japan. So a lot of it's kind of just pulling together stuff that's already out there, talking to Japanese fans and about what they want and the way they see things are going right now and that kind of thing. So it's just going to be sort of overview of the status of Xbox in Japan, especially since they seem to be doing really well in sales. They're selling through all their stock, and they're competing with Sony stock levels in Japan, which is really interesting.
Well, yeah, let's talk about that right now, since we brought it up. And that was the topic I put in there. And Xbox outsold PlayStation again, which I think that's happened twice now, which is incredible. If you had said that a year ago, that Xbox Series X and S consoles would outsell PlayStation at all in Japan, you would have been called absolutely crazy, right? Even with stock shortages and whatever, nobody would have believed it. And it's happened twice now. I remember last time it happened, people freaked out. There was people writing dissertations on Twitter about why it didn't matter, and which the numbers are small, to be fair, like 6,000 units, but it definitely shows that there's an increased interest in Xbox, especially over the disastrous Xbox One gen. So that's good to see. I think what Xbox really needs is to really drive growth home in Japan to make it more of a thing. I think they need some like exclusive Japanese content, right?
Yeah,
it's cool to have like Personas and the Team Ninjas finally come to Xbox, but then on the flip side, you're losing Final Fantasy, right? A lot of people were upset that at the most recent Nintendo Direct, a Mega Man collection was announced for all modern consoles except for the Xbox. Because apparently Capcom doesn't think Xbox is a modern console. So there was kind of a lot of dooming and glooming around it, and like, why is this Mega Man collection not hitting Xbox when the other ones have? So a lot of people see this is like one step forward, two steps back for Xbox, in the sense like, okay, well, you get this game and you get this game, but why are still some games not coming? What do you think Xbox needs to do? I mean, is it just simple as like they need to go to Capcom and just grease the wheels? Be like, hey, what can we do to actually get these games on here? Are some of these publishers just like, you know what? We're just going to wait for Xbox to maybe drop the bag in some manner? Because I would imagine that's what happened with Persona. Like, I would imagine Xbox pursued that aggressively and probably paid for the ports to be made themselves, right? Or at least financially supported the development of those ports in some manner. What do you think they need to do?
You have to remember, the Persona games aren't just coming to Xbox; they're coming to everything.
They're coming everywhere.
And I don't think Microsoft would have necessarily paid to do the Switch ports for Persona, for example. So I do definitely think like we're in a point in the industry where Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo are probably paying more than ever for content. Like in the past, it probably just would have been a case of, well, people just put their stuff onto these platforms automatically without much involvement from especially the big players. I doubt in the 360 era Microsoft was necessarily going out of their way to sort of court companies and stuff, but in nowadays it feels like there's sort of user acquisition seems to cost a lot more money, because not only they're competing with each other in the console space, they're in some ways even competing with mobile for attention, and trying to pull people away from playing stupid games on their phone like Genshin Impact and stuff like that. And obviously Sony's got Genshin Impact on their system, and the fact that Xbox doesn't have it is, it's a gap in the lineup, which is why like Microsoft's trying to cut deals with Riot, for example, to get all of Riot's content through Game Pass, which, by the way, is going to be a bigger deal than a lot of people realize. Rand, I think at the showcase, the deal for Riot to get all of its characters and DLC through Xbox Game Pass on games like League of Legends, I think that was actually the biggest announcement at the showcase.
I mean,
The
what
most
other, what
important
other
announcement.
announcements were there at the showcase? I mean, are we talking? I could potentially.
I'm talking like Starfield and stuff like that.
Yeah, but
Starfield gameplay was great.
Yeah, but I don't really think. See, I don't view the Starfield gameplay thing as an announcement because it's just, it's a game, right? As pure announcements.
I just think it was the most important segment of the show for Microsoft's business, was getting that content into Game Pass.
I mean, yeah, I kind of agree with you. I think the reason it's not talked about a lot is strictly because of it's PC only, and a lot of a lot of Xbox people look. Well, okay, for now, sure, but to a console only gamer like myself, I only play on console. The Riot deal does nothing for me personally, because I'm not going. To, no, it doesn't. It doesn't. It does. It does nothing. No, Rand. It doesn't. It doesn't. Not at all.
It does.
Like I can
and I'll tell you why.
No, I'll tell you why it doesn't. Simply because. Look. I could. It does nothing for me, but I can understand Microsoft's business reasons for doing it. And okay, it does. I know exactly what you're going to say. You're going to say, Rand, more people will then subscribe to Xbox Game Pass on PC, influx some more money, potentially create a situation where Riot might actually bring those games to console, which then you would care about. But hey, if Game Pass... But hold on, I'm not finished. But Game Pass subscribers will continue to grow. Microsoft will continue to get more money, which they will then turn around and invest in more, games for the service, which would benefit you. Potentially, if it reaches a certain number, then there's no, they can get rid of Xbox Live Gold for multi. Like, I know exactly what you're going to say. I know exactly. Like, who do you think I agree? I know. So, but like right now, today, or next year when the deal takes place, I'm not going to be playing League of Legends or Valorant on my PC. I don't play on PC. So it does nothing for me. So when I saw that, I recognized the opportunity that is Xbox can have with that and what it might mean for the future. But personally, it's an announcement that doesn't do anything for me right now at this very instant in time.
Well, just bringing it back to the whole Japan thing, it's like, it just boils down to content. Full Game Pass at the end of the day. Game Pass is the vehicle that makes Xbox desirable in Japan. Firmly believe that. They get all these games for a really low price. They get them on their phones or other devices. They can get them on their PCs where they're already playing. So it's ultimately, Game Pass is the vehicle that helps Xbox to grow in Japan. That is how Xbox grows in Japan. And just like the stuff with the Riot thing is how Xbox grows on PC. So for Japan, it's like, it's going to be games that appeal to the Japanese audience, ultimately, that helps Xbox grow in Japan. And that isn't necessarily Japanese games, because Japanese gamers, they play Western games too, And I know that they play Minecraft, and they play the same kind of games we do. But they also, like, from what my conversations with a lot of Japanese gamers on Twitter, like a lot of Westerners, we always think like, oh, Japanese JRPGs, we need more JRPGs because that's how we grow in Japan. But that's not necessarily true. Sometimes it's just about the type and tone of games. Like, I've been told that stuff like the genre that appeals to a lot of Japanese gamers, according to people that I've spoken to, is sort of like the modern urban fantasy. Kind of like Scarlet Nexus, kind of like Persona, where it's sort of set in modern times in a sort of modern setting, but then it has fantasy elements on top of it. I don't think you necessarily need it to be a JRPG to get those kind of games. It's kind of like Ghostwire Tokyo. It's kind of like the kind of setting that seems to appeal in Japan, And if you look at a lot of the JRPGs that do get big there, it's that's just the way it seems to be. Like one chap told me that a lot of his friends think Elden Ring is a Western game because of how dark and depressing it is. It's so funny to me because and I kind of see where they're coming from, because it's sort of dark and gritty, and it's like, it's not very anime at all, So oftentimes the things that we think of as like what we perceive to be a Japanese game isn't necessarily what appeals to the broader Japanese gamer, supposedly. And it's hard for me because like I don't want to make assumptions because I'm not Japanese and I'm not very I only have secondhand knowledge of what Japanese gamers want, right? And we can only look at other games that are pretty big in Japan and sort of make an extrapolation about what they can do there. But I think I think Perfect Dark will probably be a game that I'll have appeal in Japan, even though it's not necessarily a JRPG, for example. But ultimately, what this boils back down to is content. They need content that will appeal to Japanese gamers, whether that's like, for example, I know one day, Rand, Forza Horizon is going to be set in Japan. I know it's going to be damn huge.
People said the same thing about Assassin's Creed. One day it'll be set in Japan, and we're still waiting after all these years, right?
Yeah, they'll do it. They'll do it. They're saving it for when they really need to.
So
they're saving it.
What, pull out the Forza Japan card when they really need it?
Yeah.
Maybe when they have that Xbox handheld ready to go for Japan, huh?
Yeah, I think like you do Forza Horizon for Japan when you're ready to blow it up there. You've got the stock in place, ready to stock on shelves. You've got the marketing infrastructure in place. You've got the distribution in place. You've got everything you need in place. And then you crack that emergency thing on the wall with the hammer. Forza Horizon in Japan, boom. And then you blow up your market in Japan, and then, you go for it. You really go all in. But I don't think it makes sense necessarily while you don't have that infrastructure in place, And so people in chat are taking that as a leak. It's not a leak. I don't know. It's a belief. I believe they'll do Forza Horizon in Japan eventually. It just makes total sense, But put motorbikes in it and give me the Akira bike from Akira with the light trails and the 80s style stuff. And my God, it just works so well. Why haven't we got Forza Horizon with motorbike shit? It's gonna happen. All this stuff's gonna happen because it makes absolute sense. And I think we are gonna get there. And this is what we're seeing right now is Microsoft building up its business in Japan. We're seeing them with their hiring in Japan. They're putting social media in place in Japan. We've started seeing commercials for Japan, which they haven't done for a fairly long time as well. And they're building all this infrastructure up. And it's like, once we've got all this stuff in place, and Microsoft becomes a bigger presence in Japan, that's when we stop seeing games miss Xbox. We stop seeing Final Fantasy 16 just miss Xbox. We stop seeing Persona 6 miss Xbox. We stop seeing Legend of Mana for Miles. We stop seeing that miss Xbox,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And maybe we even start seeing exclusivity deals. Maybe Dino Crisis reboot. Maybe that'll be exclusive to Xbox, And maybe we'll see Lost Odyssey come back and all that kind of stuff. I think someone says Marquise Goodwin says when Project Gotham Racing got bikes, it destroyed the game. Is that true, Rand? Did bikes destroy Project Gotham Racing?
Geez, I'm trying to think when bikes were added to PGR. Was it 4? 4 was the last one.
I don't know. I don't but I don't get that because Forza has all kinds of weird vehicles in it, like cars and vans and trucks and all kinds of things, doesn't it? I don't know.
I mean, but adding bikes might just be one of those things where it's just a no-go. I don't know. You think it would be that simple, but maybe it isn't.
I want to fly a helicopter in Forza Horizon. Give me planes, man.
Give you planes.
Screw it. Give me dirt bikes. Give me everything. I want to drive a tank in Forza Horizon. Why can't I drive a tank in Forza Horizon?
It's a good question.
I mean, it's an arcade racer, I want to race in a tank. Give me that. That's a car game, Jez. Yeah, I don't know, man. Okay, I'm not designing the game. I don't know what, I'm not a racing game guy, but I'm just saying that Forza Horizon in Japan is something I would do once you had the infrastructure to support it, because Forza Horizon in Japan would help improve, it would improve their footprint there. So I think they're working towards that stuff. And what we're seeing right now is really exciting for me as a fan of Japanese games. For me, the Persona announcement for Xbox was one of my favorite announcements because I had all the Persona games on my PS2. And guess what happened to my PS2?
What happened?
It died.
Oh.
It died, Rand. And I never actually got to finish any of them. I sort of played like through most of Persona 3 and got stuck. And I moved to Persona 4, and then my PS2 died, so I never got to finish them. And I know Persona 4 Golden's on PC, but I just never got around to it. And I don't really like playing.
So, are you going to be playing Persona 5 Royale this fall?
At launch, baby, I'm going to be all over it. I might even take time off work for it, man.
Are you going to review
I also
it?
want to finish Lost Odyssey. Nah, I'm not going to review it. Honestly, I don't really review games anymore. I let my team do that because I kind of got to a point where it's just like I really just want to play games for fun, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I understand. After giving Cyberpunk a 5 out of 5, I get it. You want to retire, hang up the hat, right?
I reviewed loads of games since Cyberpunk. What are you talking about? The last game, did I review Eiyuden Chronicle? Did I review that? I think I just wrote it.
Or when you gave Halo like an 8 out of 10, you know?
I didn't review Halo. I would have given Halo 7 out of 10. So you'd be glad I didn't review that.
Yeah, but your website still gave it a 10 out of 10 though, or 5 out of 5. Perfect score.
Well, you know, that's Brendan. Brendan's our Halo guy. You know, he loves it.
Great.
Halo's great. We reviewed the multiplayer.
Yeah.
We reviewed the multiplayer. We reviewed the multiplayer and the campaign separately. He really liked the campaign, so he gave it 5 out of 5. Yeah, it was Far Cry 6 did me in, man.
Yeah, I remember. I remember when you were playing
Far Cry 6.
Like, I can't do this anymore. I can't
do it anymore.
Ubisoft has killed me. It's like, oh man. Ubisoft destroyed Jez. No wonder you hate him so much.
I can. Yeah, I just can't. I can't.
Hey, Skull and Bones is supposed to be actually releasing this year. Remember the Sea of Thieves killer?
I'm quite excited for that. I want to believe that Ubisoft can do something different, and also like make it good. I'm rooting for that game, but I know deep down it's not going to do well. I know in my bones, my skull and bones, it's not going to do very well.
Skull and bones.
I don't know. Yeah, you get it. Speaking of bones,
circling back to the Japan thing.
Circling back.
I think they're doing a good job.
Very corporate.
Are they doing like the best job? Probably not. It's still like I don't care that Mega Man's not coming to Xbox because I don't care about Mega Man. However, I usually put my personal feelings aside for stuff. I do think anytime a game skips your platform, it's not good. Like you don't want situations where games skip. So like Mega Man and all these other JRPGs that skip, that's not really a good thing. You want less of that. Even if like I'm not interested in Mega Man, like I still think it's a bad thing for that game to skip. So
yeah, it's not a good look. I mean, it's funny because right after they announced Mega Man was skipping, the developers do you remember that Bloodstained Ritual of the Night was kind of like a spiritual successor to Castlevania?
Uh-huh.
So the devs who made that, they're made up of ex-Konami and ex-Capcom staff, and they left Konami and Capcom to make Bloodstained, which is a spiritual successor to Castlevania, and they also made a game called Gunvolt, which is a spiritual successor to Mega Man. And right after that announcement, they announced that Gunvolt's coming to Xbox, as if to say, "Yeah, we're supporting Xbox," which I thought was really cool. So like we lost one with Mega Man, and then like in their Gunvolt stream, they announced Gunvolt's coming to Xbox and cloud and everything, which I thought was really cool. And Gunvolt's a really cool looking game. You should take a look at it if you guys get a chance. But you know, it's annoying that we still have this back and forth where some games are missing it, some games are coming back, and we're getting some games like Persona and Yakuza, and then we're missing some games like Final Fantasy 16 and stuff like that. It seems like a work in progress, but I think they're moving in the right direction, you know. And we're still coming back from this horrible situation that Xbox One was in when it launched in 2013. The damage to the brand cannot be understated, and a lot of the situation we're in right now is symptomatic of that. But they're putting everything in place to sort of fix the damage, build back in Japan. And, you know, even through the 360 gen, they had it was still really difficult all through the 360 gen. Things were probably better, and they were like investing in exclusives for Japan, like Lost Odyssey and stuff like that. But it's going to take time, you know. And but I think they're going in the right direction, personally, as someone who likes Japanese games a lot.
Yeah, and
so.
you do. So
I do,
We got a super chat here from Shroom Kingdom that says, I'm glad Jez removed that pubic hair from his PC. Damn. Supernova says, hey, everyone.
I actually did think, oh God, is that pubic hair? But it wasn't the right color.
Jesus Christ. Everybody should just literally turn off the show right now. I should just stop doing Xbox 2. I'm about to puke in my mouth right now.
Manscaped. Code XB2.
Supernova says, hey everyone, after the acquisition of a giant number of studios from Microsoft, do we expect a portable native device, same as the Steam Deck? Like the specifications of a Series S with Game Pass is godlike. We'll talk about that in a few minutes, Supernova, because that actually is a topic.
Yeah, so it's a topic. It's a topic.
Achievement says, how long before the Riot games come to console? Well, I think League of Legends Wild Rift is supposed to be coming to console. I don't know about the other ones. I don't know about Valorant or any of the other ones. But Jez, I think you think they will eventually, right?
Wild Rift's confirmed, isn't it?
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. I personally think, like, I don't think they'll bring full League of Legends to Xbox, because I think they'll use Wild Rift as their sort of console thing, because there's a thought process that these games need full keyboard to play and stuff like that. You know, Xbox does support mouse and keyboard, but Microsoft's done very little work to promote that. So I don't think we'll see full League of Legends on Xbox. But I can see games like Teamfight Tactics maybe, and I can see obviously Wild Rift's confirmed for consoles as well. Maybe we see Rune, but actually I don't think we'll see Runeterra either, because card games just don't work on console. They just don't. We've seen Gwent come and go, and a bunch of other games come and go. What happened to that Fable card game? Do you remember that? Fable something or other?
Yeah, I remember it. Wasn't very good.
Yeah, so I don't think card games work on console for whatever reason. But I think Wild Rift will definitely come. Maybe Teamfight Tactics. I'm pretty excited about Wild Rift. I downloaded Wild Rift on my phone. Very good. It's a very good game, and it's not pay to win, unlike Pokemon Unite, which is pay to win. And you know, I do like my MOBAs. So, you gonna play it, Rand? Wild Rift?
Nah, probably not. Rift? Probably not.
Why not? Why not, man?
Don't really care to.
Would you try it? Free to play?
Probably not.
Free to play? You get all the characters?
Don't care.
Try it with me, man. Try it with me, man.
Don't care.
But some of the characters are really cute, man.
Don't care. You're the one that likes waifus and all that stuff.
There's a lot of waifus.
You know, it's funny because Jez was telling me the reason he thinks Halo Infinite isn't doing as well as it could be is because it doesn't have any waifus in it.
It's not necessarily waifus, but it doesn't have any sex appeal. It's got no sex appeal. I think for a game that revolves entirely around cosmetics,
Master Cheeks isn't sex appeal enough for you?
There's no Master Chief skin, man. If they made a Master Chief skin which had assless chaps, armor with assless chaps for Master Chief, they'd make more money. Don't you think? I would buy assless chaps Master Chief skin.
Maybe. Would it like you just see the cheeks running after somebody?
Yeah, Master Cheeks. Don't you remember that that Doom guy meme with the cheeks?
I remember.
Yeah, that's it. Give these games sex appeal, and you'll sell more skins. You know, 343 doesn't get it, man. All their skins, they just ain't sexy. They're not sexy enough. Master Cheeks is what we need. Yeah, they're going the opposite way. They put clothes on Cortana. That's not how you sell a skin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh my god. Oh dear.
Jabbar in the super chat says, sad to see Mega Man Battle Network is skipping Xbox when we had all the previous collections on Xbox. Even more sad that nobody's talking about it. Well, we just had a nice discussion about it, and I think the reason nobody's talking about it because it's a Mega Man Battle Network collection, right? It's just nobody I don't think there's many people that truly care about that. So it's
I don't.
Final Fantasy VII Remake not coming to Xbox, that gets people upset because Final Fantasy is a massive franchise. The Mega Man games not as big, so for a lot of people they're just like, whatever, I don't care. I was never going to get it anyways. So An achievement says, I got the original Persona Special Edition on the PSP recently and seen it's going for $300 on eBay, and now I'm scared to play it. Scared to play it.
What game is that?
He says, the Persona Special Edition on PSP. $300 on eBay.
$300?
Yeah,
I own those games on physical disc, and they're in good condition. Man.
You should sell them then. You know what was interesting?
I should sell them.
I was talking to my buddy, one of my buddies at Xbox, and we were playing Fall Guys together, and he mentioned how Sea of Thieves. You know how they had the controller, right? And the controller came with cosmetics for Sea of Thieves. Yeah. That cosmetic, if you go on eBay, like the controller, if the controller comes with that DLC, those controllers go for like $2,000. Because the because the cosmetic is so limited, like you can't buy that cosmetic, right? You can only get it with the Sea of Thieves controller. They don't make the Sea of Thieves controllers anymore, so nobody can get that cosmetic. So if you go on eBay, because I looked, because I have the Sea of Thieves controller, and I don't know if I've used the code for the Sea of Thieves cosmetic. I forget what it is. But like if you go on eBay and just type it in, there are listings for like $4,000, $2,000, just the code by itself for $1,500.
Dude, I literally gave that code away on eBay, on Twitter when I got it. I think I literally just gave the code away.
Does anybody in chat
You're telling me it's worth hundreds of dollars?
I'm telling you, it's thousands of dollars apparently.
Dude,
thousands
literally
of
gave the code away. I think I might have even given it away in our live stream chat. I just gave it away somewhere. Ugh. Dude, this is the Pokemon cards thing all over again. I had the base deck, I had the fossil deck, I had the jungle deck, complete mint condition, and my mom gave it to like a neighbor's kid, and now it's worth thousands of dollars. Oh well, shit happens, man. Oh well, I'm depressed now, Rand. You depressed me.
I had to share that with you. I need to check to see if I actually used it or not, because if I haven't, oh boy, money. Achievement says, do you think Phil tries to get a Japanese publisher next after the ABK deal? Sega Atlas has been putting Xbox first on their game release title cards. Yeah, so what do you think is next for Xbox after the Activision deal goes through? You know, they've talked about Japan for quite some time. Well, you know, put the crystal ball on the table, Jez. What do you think?
Sega?
You think
Screw
Sega's
it.
next?
Just buy Sega. Sega, just do it. Just buy Sega. Just do it. Screw it. Buy Sega and make the CEO head of Xbox Japan. Buy all of Sega. Because then, if you get Sega, you get stuff on the PC side. You get your developers for RTS and Age of Empires. You get, Football Manager and loads of good stuff for Western gaming and PC as well. But then you also get Atlas. You get Yakuza, and you get a bunch of IP that isn't being used very well. You get Sonic, and Sonic is not being used appropriately. I'm sorry, it's not. That Sonic Origins Frontiers game looks terrible. It looks super bad. But I think, if they built up a team and gave it a big budget, because apparently the team making that Frontiers game ain't very big. It's like an indie game, basically. You don't give Sonic an indie game budget. Sonic, for God's sake. So, I think Microsoft could do good things for Sega. And it'd give them a foothold in Japan. And also, Sega's consolidated a lot and sold off some of their extraneous stuff. And I think they've done that to make themselves more attractive for acquisition. So, I would like to see them buy Sega. And I say that only because I think it's more realistic than Capcom. I think they'd have to pay a lot more for Capcom. A lot more. I think Capcom is just maybe too far out there. But then I would have thought that about Activision. In a perfect world, I'd say Capcom, but I don't think that's going to happen. So I think Sega is probably more realistic. But I don't know. A lot of people in chat say Take-Two. Take-Two, and you never hear the word console war again. I don't want them to buy Take-Two. Take-Two, like, what do they even have except for Grand Theft Auto?
I mean, they got
What are they?
Bioshock. They got. I mean, they have a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah,
Supposedly, they
IP.
have a whole bunch of games in development.
I don't know. Maybe even Square Enix, man. Korkenstein says
Buy
Square
Enix.
Screw it, yeah, buy Square Enix.
What? Buy
That'd
Square
solve
Enix
all
and
the-
not get any games from them for years because Sony has them all locked down for timed exclusivity?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. Hey
You
guys,
know,
we bought
get
Square
some
Enix,
money
but
from
guess what? We won't be able to put any games on Xbox until 6 years from now when the Sony
Well,
exclusivity
if you buy Square
deals
Enix,
end.
if you buy Square Enix, you get your gacha games. You know, you get some of your gacha games, and you get Final Fantasy IP. Because I know Microsoft wants some of that gacha money. You know, for the Asian market. You know, Diablo Immortal is gonna. We all hate Diablo Immortal. You know, it's so funny. I was watching a review for the Nothing phone. Have you heard of the Nothing phone? That's got a lot of
Nothing
hype right
phone?
now.
No,
Yeah,
I
the
have
Nothing
not.
phone.
I've not heard anything.
Yeah, so like in tech tuber land, there's this phone that's got like loads of hype now called the Nothing phone because it's got like a transparent back and you can see the internals. It looks really damn cool. And one of the games people use to benchmark phones these days is Diablo Immortal because the graphics it's a high end game and you can adjust the graphics settings. You can run it at 60 frames, ultra settings, and all stuff like that on a phone. So if you've got a high end phone, you can really push it using Diablo Immortal. And I watched 2 different reviews of this Nothing phone, and both of them used Diablo Immortal to test the phone, and both of them said, while I do not condone this game, it's good for benchmarking this phone. So like Diablo Immortal's like everyone hates it. Like it's like kryptonite. Everyone has to like put a disclaimer in. We're not condoning this game. We know it's evil, you know. But I know it's gonna make stupid money. It already has made stupid money. Apparently, it made $25 million in a week.
Jeez.
Did you hear that?
Yes.
$25 million in a week. We'll see what its tail's like, but yeah. The Nothing phone is not coming to America. That's why Rand doesn't know. I think Rand doesn't know just because he just doesn't care about phones.
I couldn't care less about phones. You know,
you mentioned an iPhone, right?
You mentioned yes, I have an iPhone, and who cares? I mean, I had a Windows phone, then I went to Android, then I went to iOS, whatever. Who cares? You know, you mentioned Sega and Xbox buying them, and look who pops up in chat. But Everborn Saga. Now he's all excited, and he's gonna probably send me 1,000,002 different conspiracy theories about all this stuff. But here's the thing. Yeah, just for you, Everborn, I don't think Sega's worth it. I don't think they have anything interesting. I think there's better companies you could get. I think there's better companies you could get for the price of Sega. Yeah, Sega. Look, it's the people that want Sega are just the ones that, you know, were younger in that Nintendo Sega, you know, war. So they have these like rose tinted glasses on, this nostalgic look at like Sega, and it really doesn't translate. It doesn't translate to 2022, you know? So
dude, what are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
They've got like Sega's got some of the biggest RTS stuff that Microsoft desperately needs because Blizzard doesn't have an RTS team anymore. And if they want to bring back StarCraft in any sort of serious capacity, they need Relic, you know. They need Relic. They need Sega. I think Sega's honestly like, I love Capcom. You know I do. Resident Evil, Monster Hunter, 2 of my favorite franchises. But I actually genuinely believe Sega makes more sense for an acquisition from a business perspective.
You know, I agree with PG in the chat. I don't think Sega's. Look, and I'm kind of playing this up.
What publisher would you get then?
I would. You know, I think it would be better if Sega just wasn't even on the Xbox platform. Period. That's how I feel about. I'm joking around before anybody really takes that seriously. Okay.
Wow.
I'm trying to get Everborn all upset because, you know, he's such a Sega stan. Him and Lord Cognito.
Okay. Let me ask you this, Rand. Let me ask you this. If you had to delete, if like someone has a gun at your head and they say the only way you live is if you delete Nintendo or Sega, who would you delete? Nintendo or Sega from existence?
Nintendo, because you don't lose anything. Like,
Wow.
what would I if Nintendo didn't exist tomorrow? Nothing changes in my life. Who cares?
So you do like Sega?
Well, no, it's just because at least I can play Sega games on Xbox sometimes. I couldn't care less if Nintendo was out of the industry tomorrow. It wouldn't affect me at all because Nintendo no good. And I hope everyone's still here to hear what I said. He probably bounced though. So.
Oh dear.
Andrew says Sega owns Atlas, Persona, Yakuza, and Judgment. Yeah, I mean, I understand they would make a very if your next goal was to look at Japan, right? And you have these incredible franchises, which I said one of the things if Xbox really wants to make inroads in Japan, you got to have Japan exclusive content, right? You got to make games that they would want. I mean, they have a lot there that would work, and they also have their PC stuff, which is, Xbox clearly. I mean, we know this for a fact that Xbox looks at PC as like they're one of their biggest growth markets, which is why Blizzard helps out a lot, right? Because they're one of the preeminent PC developers. But if you were also to get Sega's PC slate, that would go towards that as well. So like I understand like when you like strategize about what's next, Sega looks probably like a good option for like Microsoft's business. That if they're trying to get in Japan and PC, it may not be super interesting to like when you say, oh, like Sega's RTSs, I don't really think that really makes Xbox console owners excited because those games rarely come to Xbox, right? But then you need to figure out what Microsoft's like next move are. Like we remember before the Activision deal happened, we were both told that Microsoft was going to make a splash in the mobile scene, right? That was their next target was the mobile market.
Yeah.
It just happened to be King, which was attached to Activision Blizzard. So now we need to figure out what their next target is after Activision Blizzard. So who knows, right?
It's Japan. I think it's Japan. It's Japan in the Asian market. And I think Sega or Square Enix. Now, I would prefer. I think the best case scenario is for me personally is Capcom, but from a business perspective, maybe Square Enix. Oh my God, is that Spider?
Shout out to BG in the super chat. He says, "Why would you want a publisher that is a team literally called Sonic Team but can't even make good Sonic games? The irony." Yeah,
that's a good point.
That is a good point.
That is
a very good point. Sonic Frontier does not look like a good game, but I guess we'll see.
No, it does not.
Sonic hasn't been
it's
relevant.
So funny that
you know what's funny is that Sonic's only relevant now because of the movies. It's not like he's relevant because of the games, right?
Yeah, it's. Dude, I love
Sega.
I'm a Sonic kid.
Sega hasn't made Sonic relevant in the gaming sector, but the movies have made him somewhat popular. Oh man, people are hating my takes about this whole Sega Nintendo thing in the chat. I don't know why you would be surprised. I said, if Nintendo just disappeared tomorrow, I wouldn't care. I mean, remember, I'm known for being a Nintendo hater, right?
I'd be on board with. I think Microsoft's next acquisition needs to be Japan oriented, and I would think like Sega, Capcom, Square Enix, or Bandai Namco. I'd be happy with any of those. But I think Sega is probably a good one purely because it gives them PC oriented teams which could help on the Age of Empires side and RTS and StarCraft, because I want to see StarCraft come back. Even though RTS is niche, I know it's niche. I still want to see StarCraft come back because, Rand, if you bring back StarCraft, you also get the Korean market because StarCraft is very, very popular in Korea. So, yeah, I would definitely look towards Sega, but Square Enix as well, But Square Enix is a bit of a weird one. I think with Square Enix, you get more mobile stuff. You also get your gacha stuff. You get your MMO.
So you're thinking Square Enix more for the mobile play than the console play?
Yeah. I mean, it helps the console stuff. But I think what their acquisition needs to be something that helps grow the whole platform. So it can't just be something that looks towards console. It needs to be something that works on mobile. It needs to be something that works on PC as well. And I think with Square Enix, and I think with Sega, you get the PC stuff. With Square Enix, you get the mobile stuff. So like, I think either of those would be pretty good, you know. But for me personally, Capcom would be the best.
I know you.
And yeah, we're talking about acquisitions again.
I don't even know how this even started. People sometimes I think that's only what people care about is acquisitions.
It just interests me.
No, I mean,
if we're talking, you know who I'd really want to buy?
Who?
Samsung. Buy Samsung and give me a Windows phone. That's what I'd really want to buy. You know, I wouldn't have spent $70 billion on Activision. I would have spent $70 billion on Samsung. Actually, can they even afford Samsung? Let's find out what Samsung's market cap is right now. I don't think regulators would have approved Microsoft buying Samsung anyway. But let's see what Samsung's market cap is these days. Are they even public? Oh no, Samsung's not even publicly traded.
Mm.
Oh damn, we don't even know how much they're worth. They're probably worth a lot. Samsung's not publicly traded? That's wild. How much is Samsung worth?
I don't know. Thaneros says Sega has a legacy which Xbox does not have yet. I mean, Xbox has a legacy. They just choose not to use their legacy. You know?
Okay. Samsung's net worth is pegged at $300 billion.
Yeah.
Okay. Even Microsoft can't afford Samsung.
Xbox.
Never mind.
Xbox has a whole bunch of legacy IP they just choose not to use. You know?
Yeah,
so.
that is true.
So I'm already get tagged on Twitter right now for my take about Sega. It's already going. It's already flowing. Achievement says I got Starlink last week and cloud gaming has become possible now. Getting 120 Mbps download, was playing like a dragon this morning, laying in bed. Yeah, I mean that better the internet gets, you know, got the whole Samsung TV thing with Gaming Hub launched. A lot of people say that works really well. We'll see how that all improves. I know Jez is a big you're a big cloud gamer, right? You love that stuff. So
I do. Cloud gaming is the best.
Yeah.
Is that are you trying to achievement who talked about Starlink?
Yeah, that's what he said something about that in the super chat.
Oh right.
Starlink.
Like I want Starlink just so I can Wi-Fi from anywhere, but it's also really expensive. It's like $300 a month or something.
Oh, that
for
is
like
expensive.
100 down.
That is very expensive.
It's $89 in the UK. It's £89 a month with a one-time hardware cost of $529. In the UK, which ain't too bad. I don't know.
Finally, Jez, I don't know if you do know this, but Fall Guys came to Xbox. It's the gameplay I'm showing on screen. I played it for like 10 hours with my friends. It's fun time. I mean, I don't know how much more I'm gonna play of it because like once you kind of go through all the different events and stuff, you know, it kind of gets a little stale. But I thought it was a lot of fun. They announced they had 20 million players in 2 days, essentially. And if you look right now, most played games on Xbox, Fall Guys is number 2 overall, which dethroned Call of Duty. So the only game has more players is Fortnite. So seems like it's a success. You know, I also played Gundam Evolution, which is basically Overwatch. I don't know if you've, I know you love Overwatch and you're hating Overwatch 2. Which, by the way, guys,
you can't call it Overwatch.
I don't want to talk about this because it's going to devolve into a whole thing about Overwatch. But hearing Jez talk about Overwatch 2 and how bad it is brings me life. Just brings me life.
It's not bad. It's not bad. I just think it could be better. And you can't call Gundam whatever it is Overwatch because it has no waifus.
It is Overwatch. Have you played it? It's literally Overwatch.
It has no waifus in it.
It doesn't matter.
Dude, you can't date a robot.
Bro, but you don't understand. Those people that love the Gundam stuff, they are going to spend so much money on the robot skins for their robot characters. I'm just saying the gameplay If anybody's played it, because I played the beta, if anybody's seen it, it is like it was like the design document was basically take Overwatch and copy it. Like the characters all have like
no waifu.
I mean, there's basically you got one character that like heals the max just like Mercy, and like it is literally a 1-for-1 copy of Overwatch. That's supposed to be coming out later in the year. So, but yeah, let's talk about since we talked about Japan, we talked about acquisitions again. Let's talk about another rumor that you kind of started up. You got slothed when you were on ILP on Sunday because you brought it up, and you've been going on digging out certain polls on Twitter regarding an Xbox handheld device. Okay, so I'm gonna give you the floor. You can talk about this Xbox handheld device in any way that you want to talk about, and we'll have a discussion about it. I guess the first question is going to be, do you believe that Xbox will... I'll lead off with the question. Do you believe that not only is Xbox making a handheld device, but they will actually release one retail in the next couple years? I guess we'll start with that question. Is an Xbox handheld device coming? And I know this is going to get traction because there's no news. Jez Corden writes for Windows Central. So you're going to have sloth listening. You're going to have people from all these other websites listening. So you better be careful of what you say because it's going to get picked up and it's going to get written about.
It isn't.
Yes, it will.
As long as I give it the right, proper context.
It doesn't matter. Context doesn't matter. Like comicbook.com doesn't care about context. They only care about clicks.
Wow, you calling out my boy Cade right now?
I'm just saying, bro. They don't care about context. All they say is, hey, Jez Corden Windows Central says Xbox is making a handheld device, and they'll turn it into some article. I'm just saying, I know this is how the game is played. So you brought it up. You brought it up on ILP. Talk about an Xbox handheld device.
I will give it.
See, Idle Sloth is actually listening right now.
I'll give it complete, transparent, and clear, crystal clear context. I have no evidence that Microsoft is working on a handheld that will release at retail. No evidence. What I do believe is that they've prototyped handhelds and explored the form factor internally, potentially. But I don't have a great deal of evidence for that either. Analytically and speculatively, I think they will make a handheld, and I think they will release it at retail in the next 2 to 3, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years.
Okay.
2 to 3 years, I would say. I believe that speculatively and imaginatively. I have no evidence, but I just think, analytically speaking, without evidence, as an idea, speculatively and imaginatively, and speculatively, Rand, very speculatively, I think they will do it because it just makes a whole load of sense.
Okay.
They have xCloud, right? And a lot of people say, well, what's the point of a cloud-based handheld?
Yeah, what is the point?
I'll tell you what the point is.
What is the point of an xCloud?
I'll tell you what the point is, Rand.
What is the point?
Phones are too damn small for xCloud. They're too damn small, right? Like, phones are a 6-inch screen. These games are designed for TV. The vast majority of games, UI, are too damn small for a 6-inch screen. So what they need is something that's smaller than a tablet, but bigger than a phone, like a Nintendo Switch. You need a 7-inch, 8-inch display for cloud games. These phones are too damn small, right? So you make a cloud-based handheld that has a slightly bigger screen than the phone, similar size to the Switch, with a kickstand, with detachable controllers, so you can put it on your desk. Nintendo has proven the model. They've proven it. They've proven the right size and the right form factor for handheld gaming in current year. Phones ain't it, man. Games don't work on a phone because their UI is too damn small and fiddly. The games are not designed to be run on such tiny phones. And yeah, Xcoin in the chat says the Z Fold 3 is perfect. But that's my point. The Z Fold 3 is perfect, but it's also $2,000, baby. not everyone is going to buy a Z Fold 3 just to play cloud games. I did because I sold all of my crypto and I had profits to buy.
You sold crypto before bottoming out? Okay, that's good at least.
Yes. I knew that shit was bottoming out the second like they even started talking about regulation. I sold all that shit and I bought my Galaxy phone with the profits. But not everyone's going to buy a $2,000 phone just to play xCloud. They ain't going to do it. So what you do is you make a device that's like the Switch. It's cloud-based, but it's also cheaper than Switch. Say $150, $200 absolute maximum. Has a kickstand, has detachable controllers, and it's all cloud-based. And it's nice and cheap. And it's separate from your phone because phone gaming is different from console gaming. And when you put in a console game onto a phone, there's all kinds of logistical problems. The game looks too small. The UI is too small. The font's too damn small. A lot of the games don't have touch controls. They're designed for a controller. It doesn't work for 90% of the games on xCloud. It just doesn't work. It just doesn't work, right? So what you have to do is you need a device that is more like a console. And I think Nintendo has proven the model. They've proven it works. You know, a lot of people would say like, well, what's the point of Switch because everyone just games on a phone? Well, the Switch has sold how many units? 100 million? Yeah. 150 million? Something like that?
Well, what about the Steam Deck? Doesn't that also help your argument? Or not? Or does not help your argument?
Well, that's exactly the point. The Steam Deck is very expensive.
It is.
It starts at $350.
Uh-huh.
Which is fine and dandy. But my point is that this device is cheaper. It's going to be
so you think it's all about price point and not necessarily about, because then the discussion becomes, will this be a local device or cloud only? Because for some, cloud only is like, that's a non-starter, right? You're gonna have people being like, what's the point of this? Because then people be like, well, I can just play this on my tablet or my phone. Like, what do I need? And some people be like, well, my internet's spotty. Like, it'd basically be a useless device. But then you could make the argument the Steam Deck changes all this. Like, Steam Deck is very expensive, right? You said, what, $300 and $400 for the base model, going all the way up to like $700 for the the super top model. Seems like it's
also chunky.
It is.
You could beat someone to death with the Steam Deck.
Sure. The question
and I'll tell you
is there demand?
I'll tell you another thing.
Is there demand for an Xbox local handheld device where you can actually download your games to it?
Hell yeah.
So you think there's significant demand for it?
No. I think I've gone back and forth on this in my head. You know, because a lot of people saying like we could have an Xbox Series S in a handheld. I've spoken to people who are more smarter than me, and they've told me that the laws of physics prevent such a thing. And also the Steam Deck, it's lower spec than the Series S. The Steam Deck is like 720p, so it's more like an Xbox One S. You know, the Steam Deck is like an Xbox One S, but it's a chunky boy. You can beat someone to death with it. You know, it's hefty. It's a big thing. You know, and at the same time, I think like the Steam Deck isn't for everyone either. You know, I don't think the Steam Deck's for everyone, but I don't think an xCloud handheld is for everyone, and I also don't think it needs to be for everyone. When people are thinking about Xbox handheld, they're like, "Oh well, I wouldn't like that," but I don't care if you don't like that because I know that a lot of people will like that. I like it because my internet isn't trash, Rand. My internet isn't like your internet, where it has to tunnel through like, you know, the walls and shit. I have good internet, you know, so I want it for me because I've got good internet and I got Wi-Fi 6 on my router and it works for me. You know, I've got a 5G mast outside my house. I can use 5G right outside my house. So yeah, maybe it wouldn't be great for everyone, but it'd be great for me, and I want it. And also other markets where they've got this infrastructure, like Japan, like South Korea, and most of Western Europe, where there's abundant fiber optic internet all over the place. So yeah, I think they should do it. And as you know, a lot of people are saying in chat they're getting Starlink. I've got a lot of people on Twitter talking about Starlink. Imagine a future where like everyone's got Starlink, and the whole argument of my internet's not fast enough, it just goes away. Then it works, you know. So then we start talking about like, is now the right time? And I think it is the right time. I think they should do it. And you know, oh well. So yeah, that's what I think. I think they should do it. And I don't think it needs to have native stuff. I don't think it does need to have native stuff. Because we're getting to a point where xCloud's good enough to not need to be native. You know? I think the device can have local compute to offload some of the video encoding, which makes xCloud run better. But I don't think you need to have local compute. I think what we need for xCloud is a device that has a bigger screen and just functions better and stuff like that. I don't know. Because right now, small phones with an Kishi just ain't good enough. It's too small for me. So yeah, I want it. So make it. Thanks, Microsoft. And thanks for coming to my Tech Talk, sponsored by Manscaped.
I want to poll the people in chat, so I'm gonna make a poll here talking about this handheld device because I'm truly interested in seeing if a handheld device being cloud only is that a no-go for people? Because I think for some people it will.
Yeah, I mean, I ran a poll on my Twitter, and about half the people said they wouldn't buy it if it had if it was cloud only, you know. And I think that's fine. You know. I think that's fine. I don't think every device needs to be for everyone. But I think this is how they grow in countries that don't want to pay $500 for a console. I think this is a great device potentially for younger gamers.
Interesting. Well, the poll's up. I want to see what people think about it.
I would put this poll up on Anchor as well. Yeah, some people are saying like they can make a portable Series S. Literally, engineers at Microsoft have told me that's not possible with today's technology. So a portable Series S is just a no-go unless you have the full Xbox Series S with a massive battery and clip that screen onto it. Right now, the problem with the Series S is you stick it in a device that's small, it's going to overheat and it's going to drain battery like tomorrow because you need a lot of cooling for that kind of hardware, you know. So, like, the argument for local compute kind of falls apart when you have to ask developers to target it, you know. Because if you're asking developers to target 2 SKUs already with the Series S and the Series X, and then you throw in like a Series Y as well, you're asking them to make 3 SKUs of their game, which I don't think is feasible. But I think like what you do is you grow people into the idea of a portable Xbox by using the cloud. And then like maybe if that sells through really well and the technology improves, maybe then they can start looking at adding some native compute in the second version. But I think the first version should just be cloud only, just to start to get people used to the idea of a portable Xbox. But I don't. But I think the point of this isn't to, you know, for everyone to want it. The point of it is it's just another option, you know. Yeah, and Leonardo Vega in chat says, actually, not every device has to be for the masses. Look at Sony with VR. That's exactly it. Not everyone wants to play VR. Not everyone wants to wear a thing on their face. But Sony is still going for it because they think, you know, it could still be a profitable thing. But I think a handheld for Xbox makes even more sense than VR by a mile, especially for certain markets, especially for, you know, those markets where they don't want to have a console or they don't want to pay for a full Xbox Series X or even a Series S. So, Rand, I want you to think outside your box because I know you hate handhelds. Well, we know you hate Nintendo. we know we know you want to kill Mario.
Okay.
So let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Well, first, let me get these 2 super chats.
What do you think about this handheld?
Christian says Jez is spitting facts about the handheld. He'd buy it. And George says Microsoft is a big money company. They can make a portable Series S. right? And Space Dovekins member for 15 months says, I won't buy a local or cloud-only handheld, but I think a cloud-only handheld is a must for Xbox, especially on an advanced Asian market. So, what's your question? What do you want me to answer, Jez?
What's your opinion on a handheld, both personally and analytically?
Okay. Personally, I have no use for a handheld. Zero use for it.
Right.
But like I said, you gotta think outside of your own box, right? About like what you like or you don't like, which is why I've always said Banjo needs to come back for my Banjo bros. Even though I wouldn't play it and I wouldn't care, I want my Banjo bros to be happy. I know there's a lot of people out there that probably would love the idea of having a Xbox handheld device that they could take wherever they go and play their games on the go. I think I too actually think, seeing the success of the Switch, right? Seeing the success of the Steam Deck, I'm also of the opinion that an Xbox handheld probably should be made. I think it's a device that would be pretty successful. You could pair it with, Game Pass, and who knows where it would take you. The question I have is, would it be cloud only, or would it be local with cloud function? And my thing is, if I'm Xbox and I'm R&D in this thing, and I'm thinking about, okay, well, we could do cloud only, and we can make it a cheaper device, $150, whatever, right? Cheaper than the Switch. Subscribe to Game Pass. You can play all these games. By that point, if you also, since Xbox has already talked about it, like, they're going to allow you to play some of the games that you bought digitally that are outside of Game Pass. So maybe by the time this device comes out, all your purchases, you can be able to play digital. It's also another really good reason to buy digital, because not only do you own the game for the console, but you could also play it on the go, right? The other scenario is you make a local device, but it needs to be more expensive, right? You need to, like a $300, $400 device. But the problem I think you run into is on the developer side. Because I already think developers are, I wouldn't say the word upset, but I don't really think developers like the extra work that they have to do to get a Series X and Series, like, they have to make two versions of an Xbox game, right? You got to make a Series X version, you got to make a Series S version. PlayStation, you just got to make a PlayStation version, because both systems are the same. If you were going to make this handheld device, and it was local, and it wasn't a Series S in handheld form, like a lot of people are hoping for, right? Then it would also be another version of a game that developers would have to actually make. So not only do you already have them making two versions of a game, now you're telling them they have to make three versions of their game. Right? And then maybe, potentially, you add in a scenario where, like, maybe you do an Xbox Series XX mid-gen refresh, and now you have to have four versions of your game. That's where I think maybe it potentially breaks down, is requiring developers to make another version of your game. Because I would imagine Microsoft would mandate it. Hey, if you're working on Xbox, not only do you have to make a version for these two consoles, but moving forward, you also have to make a version for the handheld device. And they already have to make a version for xCloud as well. So they kind of already making three versions, even though, like the UI stuff, right? Pixelbit says it's literally not two versions of the game. Well, it actually literally is, though. So it actually literally is. And that's where you run into a scenario, if you imagine this, if you play it out, say 2 years from now, they come out with this device. How many of those developers actually go back and then actually make a third version of their game to support this device when it launches? I would have probably imagined not that many. So then you're in this scenario where maybe you have 100 games that's supported at launch, when there's there's thousands of games on Xbox. And is that confusing to a customer where, okay, this game works locally, but this game doesn't, but you can play it through the cloud? Is that confusing to some people? Those are some of the things like Xbox marketing and Xbox themselves would have to think about. So, Pixelbit says no, there's no xCloud version. No, it's literally not. Jez, can you educate him about it?
There is an xCloud version.
Yes.
Well, kind of. This is the problem though we've got right now, is because to make a game good for xCloud, you have to do an xCloud version. Like I noticed, for example, Children of Mortar, which is a sort of Diablo roguelike kind of game, Pixel from 11-bit Studios. Very good game, by the way. Children of Mortar. I suck at it, but it's a very good game. It's very hard. First of all, they had to patch in touch controls for the game, for the xCloud version. And also, they patched in a special larger UI mode for phones as well. So while it's not like a full-blown graphical skew, they still have to use the cloud APIs to make an extra version of the game for phones, because phone screens are damn small and you can't see shit if you're playing with the game with a small UI. Try playing the Outer Worlds on a phone. It's really annoying. You can't read a damn thing. Like my eyesight, like I have to wear glasses for far away, but my eyesight close-up's pretty much, 20/20. I can barely read it because it's all so damn tiny, And you could argue that's like you could say that's an accessibility issue, that games that don't have like the ability to resize UI and improve the size of text on the screen and stuff. But it's just the fact of the matter that some games are too far zoomed out and they're designed for a larger screen, designed for a TV. So like, yeah, there are cloud aware APIs, but developers still have to, there's still development hours that have to go in to make those cloud games work. So if you're asking them to like not only use the cloud APIs to target the UI, but also graphics for like a whole different skew, that's also more developer hours that they don't necessarily have to put in on other platforms, So yeah, I don't think it makes a lot of sense to ask developers to target a third version of the platform. However, I have said that I think like what you do is you have a cloud version first, and then the second version maybe does have some native compute, and maybe they don't force developers to use it. They just say, if the install base is good, you can target it if you want, and maybe they can cut deals to get some of the optimized games that are already designed for smaller devices or lower specs like Fortnite, and Fall Guys, games that are already on Nintendo Switch, Maybe those games could be there day one, for kids and stuff. But Rand, the other cool thing about this, right, is you get a portable device out there in the public eye that has an Xbox logo on it.
Yeah.
When you're playing xCloud on your phone in public, no one knows you're playing xCloud on your phone. But when I'm on a train and I see a kid with a Nintendo Switch, I know he's playing on a Nintendo Switch because it's got a big Nintendo logo on the background, If I was playing in public on an xCloud on Xbox device with the Xbox logo, it markets itself, man. Everyone will see that and go, "Oh wow, Xbox has got a handheld now." It markets itself. So I think they should bloody well do it. Do it, Xbox. Do it. Yeah, that's my argument.
So I kind of feel that if Xbox were to do the device, it'd be cloud only. There wouldn't be a local device.
Yeah.
Personally,
but I also think like if they did have a cloud device, that more developers would use those cloud APIs as well. So it helps improve the quality of the service on phones, But the visibility of a handheld would be so much better than playing it on your phone. I think they need this device for marketing purposes, if nothing else, Everyone will be like, "Oh my god, Xbox using the handheld," and then people will look into the handheld and like, "Oh, it's cloud-based," and then like, "Yeah, it's cloud-based, but you can also get this on your phone anyway." It markets xCloud as well, even to people who aren't going to buy the device. I think they do it. I think they need to do it, man. Mm-hmm. I think they have to do it. I think they have to do it. They have to do it, Rand.
We got 357 votes, and 68% says yes, I need it to be local. 32% says no, I would buy it day one. So,
well, there you go. 32% is a good number. I like that number. That's 100 sales right there, Microsoft. That's 100 sales. Do it.
yeah.
Make a handheld. And you can also make it sponsored by Manscaped.
Sark says, give us a Steamed Xbox and native Game Pass gaming. I mean, that's probably like the ultimate dream, but I doubt that. Goldshill says, cloud-only handheld that supports 5G, count me in. See, there's some people that like it. Callan Pripon says, how is portable gaming device that is cloud-only different from a phone with app? See, that's where I think a lot of people, when they hear a cloud-only handheld device, they think, well, I already have a phone, so how's it any different? And that would be something they'd have
Visibility.
to... See,
got
Jez
a logo on it,
visibility.
baby.
There you go. I guess
Bigger screen.
Jez knows all, right? Like that would be the reason, I guess.
I wonder how far. I wonder how far the Kinect patents go, because I'd want the detachable controllers too, so you could give a co-op partner a controller and go out there and stuff. R.L. Stein says they have to do it. Why are you putting out douchey energy right now? It's just a joke, mate. Don't take it so seriously. Take a chill pill.
Wait, you putting out douchey energy?
Yeah, by saying they have to do it.
They have to. Is that douchey?
I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know.
I don't care. They have to do it.
BQ23 says, remember the Qualcomm and Razer prototype? This is what I think Microsoft is going for. Local Android games, not local Series games, and Xbox game streaming. Potentially. Anyways, so enough about the handheld. Did you get sloth, Brett, by the way? I don't know if you did, which maybe there wasn't. Maybe you covered yourself enough where you didn't get slothed.
I did say speculatively and analytically about 10 times. So
yeah, so you didn't get sloth. Thank God. No sloth. Let's talk about the Activision update, shall we, Jez? There's kind of a big update in regards to the deal that the Communication Workers of America, which is the largest communications and media labor union in the U.S., has officially backed the Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard. They sent a full letter of support for the acquisition to the FTC leadership. What does this mean to you? Because, there was a whole bunch of letters written to the FTC from certain groups, but then I believe Raven was able to unionize, and Microsoft President Brad Smith then came out and said they would recognize that union. And then Microsoft themselves says they wouldn't be against their own employees unionizing if they decided to do so. Which really, I think, changed a lot of people's, at least this group of people's thoughts on the matter. So in regards to this and the acquisition, I mean, how are you feeling about it? Is this pretty much a slam dunk at this point?
I think so. I mean, the communications union, from what I understand, they're a pretty big and pretty powerful union. So it's they don't necessarily have a lot of power, over the decision, but it's it clears a hurdle and it makes I don't know, sort of adds support and credibility to Microsoft's argument ultimately, that they can sort of be a positive force for what is honestly a pretty beleaguered and generally demoralized workforce. A lot of people left Activision and they're unhappy with the direction. A lot of people are sick of Kotick and the executive team, and they just want change and they want something new and fresh. And, for a union who are, philosophically, diametrically opposed to corporations, for a union of that size to endorse an acquisition like this, it sends a powerful message, I feel. And we can go and see, we can have a look at Microsoft's share price, right? Not Microsoft, sorry, Activision. So there was a lot of I don't want to call it FUD, but what should we call it? There was a lot of there's been speculation over the share price and the sort of the idea that Microsoft Wall Street doesn't believe in the deal because the share price is still trading well under what they're offered it, right? So over the past month, the share price has gradually crept up from $74 up to $77. And over the last week, it's sort of... When did this news come out, Rand?
A couple
Was
days
it
ago.
yesterday?
A couple days ago, yeah.
Yeah, so it's crept up a fair bit. Like it's crept up like a couple of points from like from its lowest point this week. So it does seem to have had a positive effect on the share price ultimately. And Bing stock analysis says it's a buy. Of
Well,
course
yeah,
they
I
would
mean,
say that, though.
if I don't know, it's like if you want to make some money, because I do think it's going to go through, you might as well buy the stock because Microsoft is promising what, $95. So if you buy now at 77, you're guaranteed. Well, I mean, I guess there's always the chance something could go wrong. You know, it's funny because Jez literally, we had a Discord call yesterday. Jez was like, "Get on Discord," right? And normally when Jez tells me to get on Discord, it's usually he has information about stuff or something he's heard or some leak or whatever, right? And I still remember when he told me they bought Bethesda. Like he like messaged what it was like midnight or whatever, right? And you're like, "Get on Discord now," and I'm like, "All right, get on Discord." And he's like, "Xbox just bought Bethesda," and I'm like, "You fucking with me? What are you talking about?" I didn't believe Jez because I was just like, "There's no way they bought Bethesda," but he's like, "No, like they did. It's gonna be announced at 8 a.m. or whatever." So like, okay. And Jez has usually a lot of info. Like he showed me the gameplay of Avowed that he had, which still, how about that? They didn't even show Avowed at this year's E3 though, huh? The one game we thought was a lock was going to be there, they didn't even bother. So Jez is like, "Get on Discord," and I'm like, okay. So I get on Discord, and I'm like, what's the juiciness? What new news you got for me? And he's like, "Don't tell anybody." I'm like, okay, this got to be good. He's like, "The Microsoft Activision deal's fallen through," and I'm like, "What?" It's fallen through. I'm like, "Oh, that's not so bad. Now they can go after Warner Brothers." Remember? Because they can go after. A lot of people are like, this Activision deal doesn't, especially after it was announced that Call of Duty was going to remain multi-platform. A lot of Xbox fans were like, "This is worthless. This deal sucks. We're not even getting any exclusive games out of it," right? You had me going there for a couple minutes. You had me going.
Oh man. But yeah, it's all fun and games, right? It's all fun and games. Do you want to get some super chats before they disappear?
Yeah. I mean, I see him. Dave Ramos says, "What impact on APAC markets would an xCloud handheld device have?"
It's APAC, Asian Pacific. Yeah,
I think
Asian
so.
Pacific.
I mean, at handheld, here, you said this earlier, break in case of emergency, you launch the handheld the same day you launch Forza Horizon 5 in Japan.
Yes.
And you get, because
exactly, it'd be huge.
That could potentially tip the scales, right? Like, I don't know. I do feel like a handheld is needed. It just, I don't know. There's probably going to be some people that'll be upset if it's cloud only and not native, But
yeah, I think I think some people would feel excluded because they don't have the internet for it, and I get that. My internet here wasn't good enough for it until recently, and I don't know what Microsoft did. But they did something on the back end which really improved the quality of the service in England. Like, I always had a good quality of service in Germany, but I don't know if some of you guys saw me post a video on my Twitter of Scarlet Nexus on my PC on the cloud running at 1080p, 60 frames a second with no latency at all, just on my home Wi-Fi. So they've done something on the back end to improve it, and they're improving it all the time. So that's why I believe in the cloud, because I believe that for people who aren't having a great service right now, Microsoft are going to improve that. And yeah, some people, maybe they live in a place where there isn't fiber optic. I got a friend who lives in Iowa, for example, and her only her only option for broadband has like a 20 gigabyte data cap every month, and that's her only option. And obviously, you can't play cloud gaming on with a 20 gigabyte data cap because you'll blow that shit up in like 5 minutes, right? So I don't know. I think over time things will just get improved on for everyone when it comes to connections, because that's just the way it's been. I remember when I first got broadband, I had 5 megabytes down, and then we got a upgrade to 10 megabytes, and that was the minimum, and then 50 megabytes for the minimum, and now I've got a gigabyte down. It just feels like, technology marches on, and I think it's important for Microsoft to be at the cutting edge. And I tell you one thing, Rand, if Microsoft had a handheld with an Xbox logo on it, they would be the only company in the cloud space who had a visible physical presence for their service in the public eye. Because we all joke about Stadia, but they're still pushing Stadia. They're still working on it. Amazon Luna is creeping in the background. NVIDIA GeForce Now is on the march. And NVIDIA GeForce Now is like arguably the best service from a quality point of view. I think if Microsoft were the first to come out with a handheld just for the cloud, they would be putting themselves ahead of the competition, and also they'd have all that visibility to themselves. Because when you're playing cloud games on a phone, no one can see what you're doing. So I think they should do it on that basis alone. And I think we talked about this fair enough now. But I'll put the poll up on the audio version, and we had the poll up on here. And I think they should do it.
And if you're listening to the audio version, do us a favor and like the show, whether it's on Spotify or iTunes. Give it a 5-star rating or a 1-star rating. Write a review. It really helps out a lot. And if you're listening to the show right now, we have over 1,000 people watching, which is great considering there's nothing going on. And we talked about a mythical Xbox handheld device for probably 30 minutes. But, what are you going to do? You got to talk about something. If you're enjoying the show, make sure you hit the like button. We greatly appreciate it. Kaylin says, if you want visibility, why not talk to Steam to finance a pro version of their handheld Deck Xbox Edition with an Xbox logo, and you can use the PC Game Pass. That's the other thing they could do, Jez. Just get Game Pass and stuff on Steam Deck natively, and there you go. Boom, done. You don't really need... But either way, we've talked about it enough. Let's talk about... what do we talk about? Toxic fans. Jez.
Toxic fans.
Toxic fans.
Well, let's hear. Let's. Why are we talking about toxic fans? Let's recap what happened this week.
So a couple of things happened this week. One, Ron Gilbert, creator of Monkey Island, they're doing the sequel, right? He's no longer going to be talking about the game because constant negativity about the art style and stuff. So he made a post saying that he's not talking about it, and it's like, man, like that's pretty horrible, right? And then God of War Ragnarok, which, okay, the setup for this is interesting because the snitch, number one insider, came out of nowhere, which a lot of people believe he's just a YouTube employee and is able to look at some of these videos or whatever that are uploaded on the back end of YouTube.
Yeah.
He said cryptically that there be an announcement of God of War on the 30th, which was yesterday. Corey Balrog started tweeting on Twitter. People asked if the reveal was soon. He said no, but the game's not delayed. Jason Schreier came out and said that while there was a planned reveal of the game and the collector's editions and the release date on the 30th, that it's been delayed. I even saw him say on Reset Era that one of the reasons for the delay has to do with like Roe versus Wade or something like that. But apparently they're not going to reveal the God of War stuff yet, which has led to people freaking the F out. Asking Corey about the release date, and then apparently DMing some of the female employees of Sony Santa Monica with dick pics, which I don't know why you would think.
There's no other reaction to that other than Ugh.
to get like
What?
bro, I don't get it, man. I don't understand. Like, the game's gonna come out
What
when the game comes
universe?
out. They'll announce the release date when it's ready. Like, whether you know today it's November 11th or you know next week, what does it matter? Like, I don't like. Look, there are some screwed up people out there, really screwed up. Like, just like in like toxic fans, right? I think every fan base has their toxic fans. I've definitely seen some toxic Xbox fans. I've seen some incredibly toxic PlayStation fans and Nintendo fans. The people that just go too far. The thing about this is it's also really just paints gamers as immature, right? So, like, that's the other thing you deal with, like, your what you would say, quote unquote, normies, right? Normies still believe that, like, gaming is for children, that it's, it's for 12-year-olds. So, like, when I remember when I was talking to one of my family members who didn't know that I did YouTube, and I did YouTube talking about video games. And they're like, "Oh, what do you do?" And I was like, "Oh, I do YouTube." Like, "Oh, you do YouTube? That's cool. What do you talk about? Video games?" And they just gave me this look like you're still a child, and it's just like you have no like. What are you doing? You're binge watching, television shows? Like, what's the difference? But it really just adds to this whole thing that gamers are they're the worst. Like, why would anybody send a dick pic to somebody to try to get a release date? It just, I don't know. I maybe that's painting too broad of a stroke. But, like, when I saw that, I couldn't believe, like, I can believe people being mean, because people have been mean to me, right? People have been mean to you. Like, we've all experienced people that are in my comment section or other people's comment section. Like, people are assholes. There are definitely assholes out there, but then there are actually, like, some really cool people. Like, I've gotten DMs from awesome people to be like, "Oh, thanks, your content is, helped me so much out during dark times." I don't know what to say to that, because it's incredibly moving, because I've been through dark times myself, and I've used certain things to help get through it, right? God, I'm rambling now. I don't even know what my original point was going to be, but it's just like, I understand how mean people can be. And I when I do get on Twitter, I can see it, how, the interactions in, quote unquote, the console war. This one just kind of just took me by surprise. I was just like, holy shit. Is this what we're really doing? Like, I don't know. And then the whole Ron Gilbert thing, like, making a game and then having the fans attack it. Like, like Halo, like, some will say, like, the Halo community is, like, one of the most toxic out there. Like, all they do is complain and bitch and threaten 343 and stuff. I wonder if other like fan bases of products are like this, like, basketball teams or I mean, probably are too, because there's just deranged people everywhere. But what do you think about all this?
I think it's just insane, and I think it is important to, like, we have to remind ourselves when it comes to social media that the way social media works is we sort of there's a bias towards the outrage and the sort of extreme ends of everything, right? Like, we kind of have to remember that the people who are being toxic represent only a very small percentage of the overall fan base. It's really important to remember that. But at the same time, how do you manage the people who are actively toxic, and they are disproportionately causing trouble across all platforms, in all situations, in all communities? And it sort of comes back to it becomes a more philosophical argument about the toxicity that social media enables by virtue of its anonymity that it affords people, the anonymity, right? So, because people feel like they can just be anonymous and they can just get away with doing whatever they want, and there's just no consequences for any of these people. If it was in public, right? Imagine imagine you're in a restaurant and your food is delayed, and then someone just goes and whacks out their family jewels on the table to the waiter.
Manscaped.
And it's like, where's my food?
Code XP2.
Manscaped. Yeah. Imagine that, man. How do you manage those people? And Sebastian in chat makes a point like, you're from Europe. Why don't you tell me about toxic fans are at a soccer game? Exactly. But the thing is, if you're toxic at a soccer game, you can get banned. You get banned from going to the soccer game, you know? And they will literally have your face on a list. And, you know, you have to like, yeah, sure, they can still potentially sneak in. But people end up on like no-fly lists. And they get banned and shit. And they get arrested sometimes. They get fined. There's like way more consequences if you fuck around and find out in public than if you do on Twitter. Like, people can get away with being absolute assholes on Twitter in a way that they absolutely can't in real life, you know. There's like genuine consequences if you do some of this stuff in real life. So, you know, how do you manage that? You know, how do you do it? Do you like force everyone to, you know, use their real ID on social media? You know, and then we get into a discussion about, you know, privacy and like, do you really want to give all your data to big companies? Or if a big company, you know, loses your data? And it becomes this sort of, you know, philosophical debate then about privacy. But it is really messed up. It's just, what can you do? As a community, we just have to sort of police our own people and call it out. But the problem is, so much of this stuff happens on anonymous accounts, and they get banned, and then they just come back with a new account. You know, I think social media needs to like try harder to ban people by their IP address, but for some reason, like, they often just don't do that, because if you're living in a family, and like, say for example, you've got a toxic brother or something, he could get like the whole household banned from Twitter, and then it becomes like, is that fair? Can they really do that? Is that fair? So, yeah, it's complicated. It's a complicated issue to solve, because when you connect everyone to the internet, you allow for this kind of behavior, you know. And then the other extreme end is surveillance state, you know, like David Rodriguez in chat says. We end up in the solution a surveillance state? Hopefully not, you know. But I think one day some of this toxicity is going to get to a point where some government's going to be like, oh, we need to curb toxicity online, and try and use it to justify a surveillance state. We're already seeing it in Europe. In Europe, they're trying to ban encrypted chat apps, for example, you know. And like Nothing in chat says, you could just use a VPN to bypass the IP ban, which is like, you know. So it's a complicated topic to solve, but all we can do as a community is try and call it out, right?
Yeah, I don't know, like,
yeah, hardware ban.
People like we're all gamers, right? You're listening to this show, you love video games, whether you're like Xbox or you prefer PlayStation. Does anybody here like actually play Nintendo? I'd imagine like I would have driven them away by now. But the point is, whether you're playing on PC, like, we all love video games. They're our hobby. I just couldn't imagine like demeaning a person who works on the stuff I love to play. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, that's just so beyond the pale to me. Like, oh man, I'm trying to understand the thought process, right? I'm trying to put myself in that person's shoe and be like, I'm a huge PlayStation guy, right? I got PlayStation avatar. My whole bio is about PlayStation. My identity is about PlayStation, because you definitely know there are people out there that are about that life. All I tweet about is PlayStation, although actually all I tweet about is how much I hate Xbox. But regardless, I'm a huge PlayStation guy, and I love God of War. You would think you would like respect the God of War developers for creating an incredible franchise, and be like, okay, well, take your time. As long as it takes for you to make the game that you want to make it as good as it possibly can be, to live up to the standards that you yourself set in 2018. Whatever, if it's got to be delayed, to 2023, cool. Like, I'm totally fine with that. Like, oh, you can't reveal the release date yet? Fine, whatever. I know whenever it comes, I'm going to get greatness. But then, like, to think, because someone said there was something, but then there wasn't, like, what is the thought process of a person who's like that and is like, you know what? If I show him a picture of my dick to this random female employee at Sony Santa Monica, she'll be so enamored, she'll fall over herself to tell me the release date. Like, what? Like, I'm trying to think of the thought process there, and I just don't understand, like, you know what I mean? I don't understand
I don't know.
any of that, right? It's just mind-boggling to me. Because these people create the experiences that we live for, that, you know, some of us created podcasts about. Everybody wants to play, and it's like, you would think you treat those people with, I don't know, not as, like, more respect, or at least let them have the time they you know, like, they're making the stuff that you love. Why would you attack them? Yeah. Like, I don't get it.
There's this whole sort of thing on social media where you sort of forget that the person on the other end is a human to some degree, you know, and I don't know.
Yeah,
some people just ain't raised right, man. They ain't raised right.
Well, some of the interactions that you have is like, some people really come at you, and you have no idea what that person may be going through, right? Like, some people might be depressed or whatever, but you're right. Some of this, the anonymity, or the anonymity, or blah, 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 and I can't speak again, but you don't know what someone's going through.
Oh, what was I going to get? Yeah. I was going to get you to pronounce something.
Oh, no, we're not doing that today.
Can you say Worcestershire? Can you say Worcestershire sauce?
Worcestershire sauce?
Worcestershire sauce.
Westchester sauce.
Westchester sauce.
Westchester?
Worcestershire sauce.
Worcestershire sauce?
Do you have Worcestershire sauce?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Wait, Worcestershire.
Worcestershire?
Yeah, Worcestershire.
Anyways. Toxic fans are probably going nowhere. It's just, I don't know. I don't think it's anything that can't be solved. I just think people would be, you know, like, if you like gaming, why would you attack, like, the people that make your games? It's kind of crazy to me. Anyways, Nightwolf in the super chat says, "Hey fellas, glad to be here today. Very great discussions today. Curious, I know we speculated about it already, but what immediate impacts and long-term impacts do you see happening after the ABK deal?" Okay. Immediate impact, most likely, will be a bunch of Activision Blizzard games hitting Game Pass, I would imagine, right, Jez? Like, that day, like, similar to the Bethesda, they'll maybe have, like, a round table, and they'll be like, oh, these games are hitting Game Pass. Probably all the old Call of Duties, you know, whatever games they could potentially put in there will all essentially go into the service. The question is now is, like, when's the deal close? Right? Because this is Microsoft's fiscal year ended yesterday. So now we're in the fiscal year that they expected to close. They expected to close by this year's end of fiscal year, which is June 30th of next year. Now, there are some people saying they expect it to close by the end of summer. I've seen that posted. Some people expect it to be closed by November. Some people expect it to close. I'm one who expects it to close around the same time frame as Bethesda. I think, like, closes around March of next year, maybe February. I think Xbox will probably. I think they probably want it to close before Diablo comes out. I don't think. I don't think they can. I don't think it'll close before Modern Warfare 2 comes out, and I don't really think it matters to close before Modern Warfare 2 comes out, because it's not like they'll be able to put Modern Warfare 2 on Game Pass day one, or have the marketing for it. So it's like, I think maybe they try to push to have it done before Diablo comes out next year, because then you can have that game as a day one Game Pass title alongside Starfield and Redfall and Forza Motorsport, and, you know, the Wolong Dynasty from Team Ninja, which is supposed to come out early next year. You know, Minecraft Legends, like the beginning of next year is loaded. So, yeah, that's the time frame I'm looking at. I don't know about you. What's your time frame?
Yeah, I'd say about the same. I think like they're gonna. I know that they've got a huge team working on this right now, and that there's mountains and mountains of paperwork. And because like Blizzard is a very major employer in the European Union, like their entire sort of customer service team is based in Ireland. There's also going to be like a lot of European regulations they have to wade through, which is even more complicated potentially than the American side. So, you know, I think like probably March sounds probably good for me. And I think like the immediate stuff is like you say, what games go into Game Pass. I think they're gonna make a big deal of Diablo 4 going into Game Pass. For cloud. I can see Diablo 4 really blowing up on cloud. I can see that being like the first big major game, because like xCloud will be the only place you can play Diablo 4 on the phone, and a lot of Diablo Immortal players are going to be looking for an alternative. So I think like Diablo 4 is going to be such a huge deal for xCloud when it finally comes out. So yeah, it's going to be that kind of stuff. I think we'll see like we'll see a lot of maybe perks, like you get Overwatch Battle Pass through xCloud, through Game Pass. A lot of it's going to be Game Pass stuff in the short term, but I think longer term we'll probably hear about like people getting fired. Bobby
Yeah.
Kotick's going to get his golden parachute, for example,
Well,
and we'll get rid
so
of
let me ask you this: if they do the similar roundtable, do you think they do a roundtable with Kotick being there? Or is he gone already? Like, do you do that with Bobby Kotick, or do you wait till you have him replaced?
I don't think Kotick will be there. I think
Okay.
Kotick is absolutely the wrong person to be putting a face on the company right now. I think they get rid of Kotick. They make Sarah Bond the CEO of Activision.
Oh, Sarah Bond. Do you think she's going to be
Yeah, Sarah Bond.
Hmm.
Yeah, Sarah Bond, CEO of Activision.
What reasons would you have for her to run Activision? Why
'Cause
not
she's awesome.
why not Mike Ybarra?
Because Sarah Bond is awesome.
Well, come on, there's got to be
Mike Ybarra can run Blizzard. He can stay at Blizzard. He doesn't need to be running the rest of it. I want Mike to fix World of Warcraft for me, okay? I don't need him to be worrying about the rest of the company.
No, but
Mike
I
can
mean,
stay there.
why do you think Sarah what? Like there has to be something other than
She's
like
awesome.
she's cool. She's awesome, so she should run Activision. There's got to be more to your thought process on that one.
There isn't.
Okay, well,
There's not more thought process. Sarah should just
Sarah
can run Activision.
not like hey, it would be good experience for her to run a publisher before she takes over Phil in a few years. Nothing like that or anything.
That too, maybe. I think that the obvious future that I think everyone kind of here knows. Well, one day when Phil retires, and a sad day it will be, we'll all be in mourning. I think the obvious choice is Sarah Bond, isn't it? So I think like for Sarah to run Activision would probably be great experience for her to then eventually run Xbox as well. So this is just me, spitballing. But I think, you get rid of Kotick, you install some actually good people to run Activision to show that they are turning the corner and they are gonna, bring some new life to Activision. You do things like you put Call of Duty on a 2-year dev cycle. You do diversify the sort of content that your teams are making. Don't get everybody to be working on Call of Duty. Give Call of Duty some room to breathe, for God's sake. Work on some other games. Work on reviving, get Crash Bandicoot into a regular cycle. Boost up Toys for Bob and, bring back Spyro and Tony Hawk and Guitar Hero, man. I think Microsoft could do great stuff with Guitar Hero. Guitar Hero could be an awesome game to bring back. There's a lot of nostalgia for Guitar Hero, and the only reason they dropped it was because they just decided the margins weren't good enough, But, they could partner with Spotify and put any game through it or something. I think that there's like a lot of good stuff they can do with Activision. There's so much potential that's locked away behind like them chasing trends and shareholder BS, But there's gonna be an upheaval at Activision. In the short term, it'll be good. It'll be Game Pass, but in the long term, it's gonna be more diversified portfolio of games. It's gonna be, investment in growing it and pushing it out to cloud and, bringing back some dead IP. Things that will help Xbox. I think we'll see Prototype come back, for example. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to see. There's going to be a lot of changes, I think. More so than what we've seen in Bethesda. I think like Bethesda, they're sort of leaving Bethesda to their own devices by and large and just being like, yeah, make the games you want to make. But I think Microsoft's going to be a lot more involved in fixing Activision, So, yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, I'm more interested in seeing what they do with the Call of Duty factory, right? Like we saw the picture, the new Modern Warfare 2 has like all of the Activision studios working on it. We've seen reports recently that there was going to be a Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4 remake, but that apparently is no longer happening because Vicarious Visions was basically dissolved into Blizzard, I want to say, right? So
they were turned into Blizzard Albany.
Yeah, so it's like,
where is Albany?
New York, I believe. If it's the same Albany.
New
Albany,
York?
New York, yeah.
New York. It's a hell of a
So to
town.
me, it's like, okay, if you're turning Call of Duty into a 2-year cycle, it's like some of those studios, like Toys for Bob, maybe like High Moon. I would love to see what because High Moon made some great Transformers games. They're an incredible studio. So it's like, I would love to see if they got their freedom and like were able to make their own games again. I mean, same thing for Raven. But like I have a feeling Raven's gonna just be on Warzone for the foreseeable future. So I'm interested in seeing like what they do with those studios, which ones get taken off Call of Duty if they are getting taken off Call of Duty. King is gonna do the mobile stuff, and none of us here, none of you listening care about that.
What are you talking about? I love Candy Crush.
No, you don't. Stop lying. Stop lying.
I'm gonna download it right now.
No, you won't.
Screw you, man.
And then there's Blizzard.
I'm downloading it.
And Diablo 4 is going to be a big thing if they can get that in Game Pass day one before the deal closes. And then they have the new survival game they announced. And then who knows what they do? Do they bring back StarCraft? Do they have somebody make a StarCraft first-person shooter? There's a lot of things they can do. It'd be interesting to see, what their plans are.
Who I want?
They do have plans. Yeah.
You know who I want on StarCraft?
Who do you want on StarCraft?
The Coalition. Coalition.
Like as a shooter?
Yeah, as a cover shooter.
That
Gears of War, StarCraft, do it.
How about Gears of War meets StarCraft and you cross over? And the Coalition, and like Kate's like, we just crossed what is this? And they go through a portal and they're in the Starfield universe, or you're in the StarCraft universe.
Yeah, maybe.
And then they call for help, and here comes Master Cheeks, and not only Master Cheeks, but the Doom guy. Like where's your Xbox brawler type Super Smash Brothers game? You got all these characters. You could do that. What about a kart racing game? For the kiddies, essentially, you're gonna have all this stuff. You might as well make them. Chaos Mice says the handheld has to have local download, so you're still talking about like the handheld and stuff. So that'll be a forever debate.
Hey, Rand.
What is that? What is that?
You hear that?
Yeah, unfortunately. What is it?
Candy Crush, baby.
Candy Crush?
This game's actually kind of fun. It's pretty fun, man. I got a level up. Wow, you passed on your first try. You hear that?
Unfortunately, I think everybody can hear that, yeah.
Dude, it's pretty fun, actually.
Goldshell
says, I need boosters.
Yeah, buy them boosters, just like Diablo. How much money did you spend on Diablo Immortal, by the way?
$40.
$40. Okay, my buddy spent like $200.
200?
Yeah,
dude. Okay, so I was playing Diablo Immortal and I was enjoying the story. So I thought, I'll buy the Battle Pass. I'll buy the Battle Pass because I think the Battle Pass is fair. And I bought like the premium Battle Pass. So that was like $40 or something like that. Or $30. And then I bought like a premium track or something, which was like another $10. And I thought that was fair. And I completed the Battle Pass. I got all the cosmetics from it and all the extra stuff. But dude, after the battle pass ends, there's pretty much nothing to do. The only thing you can do then is compete with people on how much you spend. And you'll never beat these millionaires who are spending like $10,000. It's just insane. That game is so broken. I don't know what they're going to do with it. I don't know if they're going to try and change it because they've gone completely radio silent. They haven't said a damn word on Twitter. It's like they're pretending they never released the game in the first place. It's really embarrassing, actually. But, oh well. And Microsoft's going to own that. So,
yeah.
I wonder if Phil will change it.
Goldshell says,
Candy Crush is amazing.
Bring back Wakeboarding Unleashed and Hexen. You talked about Hexen.
Hexen needs to come back.
Yeah.
Yeah. I bet id Software is looking at Hexen like licking them chops, baby. That's a perfect game for id Software right there. Dude, Candy Crush is actually pretty cool. You line up the little candies and they like explode and there's like sparkles everywhere. That's really cool, man.
Gamer by Choice says, Rand, you're asking people to be logical. Good luck. Yeah, I know that's usually a bad thing. People are very emotional, so. Dave says, anonymity and banning, not a bad balance. Dave also says, Twitter could partner with major email providers and cell phone providers and allow the ban to roll up the owner of those accounts. Talking about like the toxicity stuff. So, now that Jez is playing Candy Crush, let's talk about Booty Call. Did you see
Booty Call?
You see Game Industry Business like headline? It was just like a bad booty call or whatever. Yeah,
that was the worst headline I've ever seen in my life.
A bad booty call. So, Matt Booty had some words at an all hands meeting last week, apparently, where he said, "But Bethesda no longer has a crunch culture." He said, according to Kotaku, Matt Booty held a Q&A during a meeting last week where he addressed the topic of labor conditions because of a Kotaku article that talked about the crunch of Fallout 76. And Matt Booty said the challenge with a lot of these articles is that they look backwards, sometimes pretty far back in time. And Booty reportedly claimed that crunch culture was just part of the industry, adding, I don't say that to justify it, I'm just saying it was part of the culture of the industry. I'd literally stepped under my desk early in my career, and we looked at that as a badge of honor. However, he claimed that those days were long gone under Xbox, stating, I know from talking to Bethesda leadership that we do not have a situation where people are crunching, and we got this bullying atmosphere. I'm confident about that. So, what do you think about this being number one, a topic of a story for Kotaku about crunch? And I mean, I understand what Matt's saying about it, like it was like a badge of honor, like you did this because you cared so much, so you slept under the thing and under your desk, and other people saw that and was like, well, if they're doing it, I have to do it, which you could say that's kind of a bad thing, but I could see how previously it would be looked at as like a good thing. But what do you think about all that, Jez? What do you think about, because it doesn't seem to me that Xbox is, they seem to, because even with 343 they have what they call priority 0, which is focuses on team health, and it's definitely, I think, one of the reasons why there's not a lot of content for Halo is because they don't want that team to crunch anymore. They don't want any of the Xbox teams to crunch anymore because they feel like if there's no crunch, that's better for them in the future because more people want to work at Xbox because they don't have to crunch, and so they feel like, for the health of their employees and for the betterment of their business is long-term strategy, it's worth it not to crunch. Because I would imagine if you were crunching, Halo would have more content. Avowed might be out by now, right? Some of these games that are constantly delayed will probably come out because like the deadlines can't be moved, et cetera, right?
But the media's always mad that the games on Xbox are coming out slowly. Rand, well, isn't it a good thing that they don't crunch, or is it a good thing that the games are delayed? Is it a bad thing that the games get delayed? Everyone was really mad about Starfield being delayed a year, but I thought we were mad about crunch. So which is it? What are we mad about? Are we mad about delayed games, or are we mad about crunch, Rand?
Well, It's
But
like
Rand, I'm gonna segue for a minute.
okay,
I was playing Candy Crush for 2 minutes,
right?
about 2 minutes,
2
and it
minutes.
already wants me to pay $3.
Of course, it's a mobile game. What do you expect?
It says you've run out of moves. Please buy a booster. Beginner's bundle.
How much is it?
$3.
$3?
$2.49.
And what do you get for it?
£2.49, which is about free. You get a bunch of gold, which you can use as a booster to play on, or I can buy a weekly deal, which gives me one booster for $1. What the hell? I just want to crunch some candy, and you're telling me I can't do it without paying money? Uninstall. Buy a crappy game. Man, that is aggressive, man. I was playing for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, you are right. You are right in the sense that the media, or at least some people, will be like, Xbox, what's up with their games? Why do they have no games? Like this year, right? You have Pentiment.
I only focus on the negative.
Well, because
these tabloids,
negative
like attackers,
sells,
they
bro.
only focus on the negative.
Because negative sells. That's the whole point.
Yeah, I never see any articles praising any of the good stuff these companies do. All they do is talk about the negative. Which is why eventually I just start tuning out, because it's like, they won't report on anything unless it's negative. So they have to find people who are just being negative. Now, I don't like talking about this stuff, because when you're a reporter and you're biased towards focusing on the negative, I think you don't search for people who have a different opinion. I think you erase people who have the opposite opinion. And I've certainly spoken to people at Xbox and 343 and Blizzard too, who've given me a completely opposite take, which I know would be like, cancel worthy. They'd be like, "Oh, you're defending a corporation, But these are human beings with their own opinions. You were raising their opinion and invalidating their opinion because it doesn't get clicks. So I don't like covering some of this stuff. Because the only way these things become a thing and blow up is because there's a sort of bias towards negative content and negative coverage. But whatever, that's a whole nother discussion. I can't say for sure whether there's a crunch culture at Bethesda now or even in the past, because I don't work there. I don't work there, and I can talk to like a bunch of sources, but even then I can be like, I talked to 10 sources at Blizzard about what the culture at a studio is like at Blizzard. But what if 800 people work there? And what if all those 800 people also have a different opinion? And maybe that might sound like a cop out to some people, but I don't think it is, because it's a small sample size. When we do polling, we don't a sample size of 5 to 10, even 20 people. That wouldn't be taken as a serious poll. It wouldn't be taken as a scientifically viable pool of data to produce a narrative that suggests something is definitely a thing that is happening, and maybe that comes from, like, I studied statistics for a little while at university. I did go to university for about like a year, and I dropped out because I hated it. But in that year, I studied statistics and in socioeconomics. And a lot of my thought process from qualitative and quantitative evidence comes from like this sort of thought process that you often can't. You need a bigger sample size when you're producing an answer on some of these questions. So I don't want to sit here and say for sure whether there's crunch or there isn't, because I actually physically don't know. And I also don't want to say that 343's problems with content is that they're not crunching enough, because I don't know. I don't know what it's like to be working in that studio, and I don't have any sources that can corroborate one way or the other, And even the big journalists that have sources on this stuff, they're not talking to everyone at the studio, and they're not physically there. So you basically put in your faith in their interpretation of a small sample size of sources at the end of the day. And Ryan in chat asked what crunch is. So crunch is basically the sort of it's a broad term that refers to overtime. Basically, people working extra hours. We've heard of extreme crunch situations, like even Matt Booty said supposedly in this call where he slept at his desk. And he slept at his desk and he never went home because they were working so hard to ship a game on a hard deadline. And now, like, we have a situation where 343, is releasing games on a 6-month cadence because they have an anti-crunch culture.
Yeah, priority zero. Priority. You said
Priority
games
zero.
in 6 months. It's just regular content for their game. Yeah. Priority zero.
Yeah.
Before
So,
they're focusing on team
priority
health
zero.
first and foremost. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, I haven't seen any articles praising that approach. I've only seen articles criticizing the lack of content. So it's kind of like there's a bias towards negative reporting in some of this stuff. So I kind of see where Matt Booty's coming from, to some degree.
Well, also
But-
Matt Booty has no control over what Bethesda does. He doesn't run Bethesda, right?
No, he doesn't. He doesn't. And one of the problems you've got is, like, how do you balance that? How do you balance fans' expectations against, the crunch culture? How do you balance that? Everyone wants content faster. They want more content as fast as possible. So another thing you could do is hire more devs, right? Hire more devs. You can consolidate your teams, like fold Vicarious Visions into Blizzard, so you've got more devs, so you have to crunch less. You can buy up Proletariat Games, who made Spellbreak, so you've got more devs to work on World of Warcraft, so you don't have to crunch, so you can meet expectations. But I've seen the media complain about that as well. I've seen the media complain about that too, and say, like, oh, they're buying up all these devs, so there's less creativity. And it's like, well, but at least they ain't unemployed, and maybe if there's more devs working on the game, they'll have to crunch less. Everything seems to be like it needs to have a negative spin. So I have a cynical view of some of this stuff. And if you're a developer listening and you want to give me your perspective, feel free to DM me, anonymously or whatever, so that I can learn, But I take a cynical view because I have been told opposing viewpoints from developers on this. And a lot of developers feel like they can't speak up with an opposing view because it goes against the popular narratives, right? So, I don't know, man. I honestly don't know what to say. All I know is that they're doing their best. Microsoft's doing their best to deliver content faster while also managing a culture that is healthy for people.
Yes.
So, as fans, you have to ask yourselves, are you anti-crunch or are you anti-game delays? Because I don't think you can have both.
I've said this before repeatedly. People don't care. One, well, it kind of goes back to the toxicity. Most people probably don't care about the devs that make their games, so they can be rude and obnoxious to them. Two, they don't care, because I know I've seen this sentiment online when they hear about crunch. They're like, hey, I work overtime at McDonald's or I work overtime at UPS and I don't complain about it. So why are you complaining about it? All you're doing is working extra overtime. That's how some people will view it. That it's just extra work, and that I do extra work and I don't complain. So stop being a snowflake, right? And three, most people don't care how their games are made. They want their games made, and they want it. And they don't care about the specifics. They don't care about how the hot dog is made. They just want the hot dog, right? So when people hear about this stuff, they don't care because they view games as a product like anything else. And all they care about is getting their product. They don't care about the developers working on the product. They don't care that some of the developers stress themselves out and leave the industry or whatever, right? They don't care that some of these developers work hundreds of hours to sleep on their desks, because to them, those developers are just a cog in the assembly line. And this is just an entertainment product for people, for them to play. So they couldn't care less, because to them it's like, well, I also work overtime and nobody's writing articles for me when I have to, work 20 extra hours at my McDonald's making shakes and fries and stuff. So, like, why the bleeding hearts for the people who have to do all this extra work at at Q&A. A lot of people view it as that. It's just like, that's your job, do it. Or why? What are you crying about? If you don't like the job, go do something else. So you can't really change those people's opinions. But like I said, I think Xbox is doing the right thing, right? You focus on your team's health, so you don't burn people out, so those people don't leave the industry. You make Xbox Game Studios a great place for employment, because as we've seen, there's a struggle to hire devs, really good devs for games, like it's going on in the industry. So you position Xbox Game Studios as a premier place to actually work that cares about your physical and mental health, and that those things will eventually provide better games and everything for your fan base. But some of the fan base they don't care about this stuff. They just want the games. A lot of fans will look at this year's 2022 lineup of games and say, it's absolutely pathetic, right? Like, I would rather have this X studio crunched so I can have something to play, right? So, but you are right, because you don't normally hear about the good things that happen. Kotaku normally doesn't write about those stuffs, right? They write about the awful things or things they think will get clicks. That's why they're one of the worst websites out there. I mean, negative stuff, it's been proven over and over and over again. That's what people like to click on. It drives engagement. It drives clicks. It's just, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because it validates those people's feelings or something. I'm not really sure why negative stuff gets pushed more than positive stuff, but that's the truth. So it's the media, so you complain that Xbox doesn't have any games because they let their developers take their time so they don't burn out, so the games get delayed, but then you bitch because they don't have any games because they do that. It's isn't not crunching supposed to be a good thing? But you don't really see anybody talking about it, so presumably because nobody would click on an article about that. So yeah, I don't know.
I'm sure if I wrote an article why it's a good thing Starfield got delayed, and then focused on the fact that it means they don't have to crunch, people wouldn't read past the headline. They just get all mad about me defending the corporation.
You already know people don't. We had this conversation today about Pentiment, right? And I remember telling you back when you had found out about Pentiment, I said maybe you shouldn't leak this game because we knew what the game looked like, right? And people weren't expecting that. But in your article about Pentiment, you included the screenshot of the freaking king.
Yeah, I did.
In your Windows Central article, there is literally a screenshot of the game that you included last year. So if anybody had actually read your article, they would have known exactly what Pentiment looked like. But they didn't read your article. They just saw the headline, and that's it. Nobody reads the articles. They just see the headlines.
No, they don't.
And I bet you
some people read them.
How many people in chat right now?
Shout out to those people that do.
How many people in chat right now actually knew that Jez had leaked what Pentiment looked like when he talked about it in his article? I bet you, because I didn't know, because I didn't read the article, because I already had known what Jez was going to say, because we had talked about it. How many people in chat? I'm going to scroll down and find out after I read these super chats. Kyle says, if a technology allows the Series S portable in 3 to 4 years, 720p is fine. It will be the first portable with a huge library from the get-go, except for Steam Deck. Let's see. Raiden says bedroom programmers are the original crunchers. Raiden Blaze says 343 are working on Halo, so leave them to work. If you don't like it, you can always leave. Eye for an eye. I play Halo every day. Enjoy it. What are you playing? Guardian says, my bad about the Twitter scuffle. I wasn't myself. Let's see. Raiden also says, leave Thor 3 out of your mouth to negative chat. Flame says, Jez, I agree with you, but why is Halo a live service now if they choose not to put themselves through the same scenarios of actually successful ones? I guess, are you saying, to be successful, you have to crunch? I guess that's what he's saying. Or something like that.
I mean,
you choose to be a live service, so if you choose to be a live service, don't you be a successful one, you have to follow along. I mean, but hasn't Epic hired a whole bunch of people to offset that, or I don't really know much about any of the hiring practices of Epic or Respawn, so I don't know. Do they crunch? I have no idea. Artemis says, "Hey Jez and Rand, what is your thoughts on this Frank O'Connor issue of him making racist and sexist comments, and the Bonbo Juneteenth issue?" I mean, it's been known for a while that Frank O'Connor made a bunch of racist and sexist stuff on NeoGAF and Reset Era, so that wasn't a surprise to me. Oh yeah. I remember when he got banned from Reset Era for Frank O'Connor still is like the Halo franchise director or whatever, yeah.
And he said racist stuff?
I mean, if you see the post, yeah, he got banned on Reset Era for racist comments, yes. Or maybe it was sexist comments, either way. Yeah, the whole Bonbo Juneteenth issue was, I mean, what is there to really say about it? It's unexcusable. I personally think somebody did that intentionally. You heard about that, right, Jez?
By which, sorry?
The Bonebo Juneteenth issue that 343 had?
Yeah, I did hear about that. It was, they fucked up really badly. I don't think anyone sat out there on purpose to do something like that.
I don't know. I think somebody did.
You really do?
Yes, I really do.
Do you have? Because I don't know, man. They said it was like it referred to an eternal tool set from Bungie era.
Yeah,
you think someone did that on purpose?
Yes, 100%. I think somebody did that on purpose. And it just so happens.
Someone told you that?
No, but I didn't talk to anybody about it. But like, so just because the program that they used back in the day, like the program itself wouldn't like cause the thing to name it after itself. One, and two, it just so happens to happen on the Juneteenth thing, which is getting rid of slavery. It just so happens that it's that one, but no other one. To me, I don't know. Like, that just smells like somebody did that on purpose. And nobody caught it before it was sent out. And 343 and everybody there had to, like, come out and, like, basically, say it was despicable and all that stuff. No, but, like, I think somebody...
If they did, then they should be fired, and that's fucked up.
100%. Right? But I really do think somebody did that purposefully.
I don't want to believe that.
I mean, why not?
I mean, maybe you're right.
There's racist.
I don't want to believe
people
it,
everywhere.
but maybe you're right.
I mean, come on.
I don't know. That's fucked up if it's true, but
I don't know. I think the idea of the program naming like something like that, it's like whatever, like itself, and it just like it. I don't know. That seems a little bit too far fetched for me. That seems like somebody did that purposefully with harmful intent.
That's fucked up, man.
Yeah, well. Anyways. What else we got here? You did an article about AI in gaming, and you said it's going to, basically change the future. What was your takeaway from it?
The AI in gaming stuff, that kind of feeds into what we're talking about crunch, right?
Mm.
Because one of the benefits of this AI stuff, and a lot of people, again, they didn't read the headline. They thought I was talking about enemy AI, fighting and stuff. Right, but that's not what it's about. What my article was about machine learning sort of boosting the speed at which development can happen, right? So I think, like, for example, they've got technology now where AI can basically, you tell an AI to draw a picture and it'll draw it. You say to an AI, draw a picture of a zombie riding a motorbike, and he can do it pretty accurately, So the thought process there is maybe AI is one way they can solve the crunch thing and having content that releases faster, because if you might be able to have an AI that can for example, animate a rat or something, or a snake. One of those background animals that maybe it's there for ambience, and but nowadays a developer would have to like edit that, and they'd have to animate it themselves, and they'd have to do all the heavy lifting and do the artwork and stuff like that. But in the future, you could potentially have an AI to do that. So maybe that's how you solve some of the issues we've got right now with development time and and stuff like that. It's a deep topic to get into. But like, if you're interested, I really urge you to read my article. I don't get paid extra for anyone reading the article, by the way. I am salaried, so I don't get paid per click. But like, if you are interested in the AI stuff, I urge you to read my article because it really is exciting stuff. And I think it will feed into the crunch stuff, and it will help developers get content up faster. Microsoft has technology where you can basically ask an AI to write code for you now. Like it will write code for you. It can draw pictures for you. It can create concept art for you. It's crazy, And I don't think it's going to put developers out of work, because you still need developers to do that handcrafted content, the sort of more complicated stuff. But at least in the short term, you could have AIs to do some of the extra stuff, the extraneous stuff, So I think that's what's coming in the future. And it'll lead to bigger games too. You still have all your developers, you'll have all your developers working on the game anyway, but for all that extra content, you could have like an AI augmenting the process, So that was just what that was about. But you really have to sort of get into it deeply, and we'll have to like talk about it a lot, and get all technical, because it really is super technical. Like I only have a very surface level understanding about it. But Rand, the most interesting part of this is Microsoft dropped $1 billion on OpenAI for the exclusive rights for commercial applications of their AI programs. So like the automatic code writing, the sort of the algorithms that make pictures. Microsoft has exclusive rights to applications for that technology. So we've already seen Copilot launch on GitHub and Visual Studio, which helps people to write code just by telling the AI what they want to achieve. And it saves hours and hours potentially, And Microsoft has exclusive rights to that. So I think the future is going to be really interesting. It's all going to be developer side stuff. I don't think we're going to see much of this stuff in games. But here's an example for you, Rand. You'll be able to tell an AI, and this is what I believe the first gaming application for a Microsoft game is. You'll be able to tell an AI, for example, make me a mini game in Minecraft. I'm sorry, I'm coughing. Make a mini game in Minecraft that's a 4-player co-op survival horror game set in a world with zombie cows. And the AI will literally write that entire game for you, that mini game map for Minecraft. I think that's the first application for it. But yeah.
Interesting.
That's the interesting stuff coming. Maybe even in Forza, you'll be able to tell an AI, make a custom race that, has a bunch of parameters and stuff, and it'll just do it for you, We'll have to wait and see how it comes. It's going to be very interesting for user-generated content.
All right, you know what? I think that's everything I have here I wanted to talk about. So we're going to take some questions because we haven't in like a couple weeks. So if you got a question you want to ask about anything, make sure to put it in chat. We'll do our best to answer it. And if anybody's leaving, thank you guys for being here. Please hit that like button on your way out. And this show will be up on the podcast apps ASAP. If you're listening there, make sure you leave us a review, 5-star, 1-star, whatever floats your boat. We appreciate anybody who listens to the show, whether it's live on YouTube or later on. And Jez, I finished The Quarry, by the way.
How was it?
It was good. It kind of fell off the more I played. It's not as good as Until Dawn was. They put you in some of these situations where like the people react like different or not how you think they react. But there's like a lot of different branches for like characters that die and stuff. So I was actually lucky enough to save everybody, which is what I normally always try to do in my first playthrough. So it was fun. I'm not sure it's worth $70 though, because the game's $70. Maybe when it's a little bit cheaper, it might be worth it. It is longer though. It's definitely longer than their Dark Pictures games. This one took me about 8 hours to play through. And I guess you could say it has replayability if you want to see different, like go through and pick different choices to see how things, change, or if you want to actually try to like kill everybody instead of saving everyone. So that was fun. It's definitely better than their other games or the Dark Picture ones, but not as good as Until Dawn. They haven't reached that. That's like their apex for me at least. But yeah, what I'm really interested in trying out is I didn't get a chance last night. Was I got thanks to Xbox, I got the DLC for Cuphead, the delicious last course. So
course,
yeah, I cannot wait to play. I love Cuphead. I cannot wait to play the DLC in that. So I'm gonna be playing that this weekend. And
I actually we're doing a giveaway for the Cuphead DLC on WC Gaming Tweets. So if you guys want to win a copy of Cuphead with the DLC for Xbox and PC, it's Xbox Play Anywhere. So head over to WC Gaming Tweets and check it out there.
Yeah, thanks for the 1100 that were watching the show. The high point. We appreciate you. I thought there'd be less than that because there's really nothing going on, but yeah. So we got some questions here. George says, "Hey Jez, predict what is the Xbox second half of 2023 first party wise?"
Oh, that's a good question. I'm going to let you go first for that.
Well, normally I would say...
Come on, Rand.
I would say Hellblade, Avowed, Contraband. But I get this feeling that Avowed is going to be early 2024. Not like any, like, just, I don't know. I guess it depends on when Starfield launches. Like, I get this feeling you don't want to launch Starfield the same sort of year as Avowed. Like, but I guess I don't know. I can see Hellblade and Contraband and maybe Project Belfry as the big titles for 2024, and then you can have like Avowed launch early or end of 2023, and then have Avowed launch like early 2024. Maybe Perfect Dark is like end of 2024, and then you can have like some of those other titles like Compulsions or In Exiles. I think it really comes down to which games are ready.
Yeah. I think I would predict Avowed for the second half of 23, like maybe November, December, something like that. Depends on the scope of Hellblade. I think Hellblade development slowed down a bit because they actually literally built an entire new studio for them, a moved studio. So like maybe if Hellblade's a bigger, more ambitious game, sort of on the scale, I want to believe it's going to be sort of on the scale of God of War 2016. It was 2016 God of War? Wasn't it?
2018 God of War.
Okay, so what was 2016? Overwatch? Yeah, Overwatch. 2016, 2018 God of War. Maybe if Hellblade's on that kind of scale, maybe Hellblade's 2024. Maybe. I want to believe Avowed will come out the second half of 2023, but I think maybe they want to push the scope of Avowed further. Maybe they don't. Maybe they want to avoid direct comparisons to Skyrim, because maybe they want to differentiate harder or something. Because I remember like one of the things that I called it the Outer Worlds Skyrim, because to me it looked like Skyrim with an Outer Worlds aesthetic. It looked like to me the same engine as the Outer Worlds, with the vibrant colors and the sort of the chunky kind of textures kind of thing. It looked very different to Pillars of Eternity. So maybe like they decided they want to rethink the aesthetic a bit. Because I think Pillars of Eternity fans might be surprised by the aesthetic they're going for. It's not cartoony. It just looks like the Outer Worlds to me. Sort of like double A sort of fantasy game. But with Obsidian's RPG and writing chops. So maybe they want to go harder on Avowed and sort of get it to the next level. Because am I imagining this? Did they announce they were moving it to Unreal Engine 5, or was that just everyone's assumption?
I don't think they announced it,
remember.
but I think it was in a job posting.
Oh yeah, that's right. They were looking for someone with Unreal Engine 5 experience, right, or something.
Mhm.
So maybe they are trying to push its visuals a bit. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But maybe Avowed could be even further out. Maybe they just they lean really heavily into Starfield for 2023, and they're just like, you know what, Starfield can carry it, and we'll just release some of the big game in 2024 towards the end of the year. Maybe it's Contraband or something like that. And maybe I just want Avowed to be as good as it can possibly be.
Yeah.
Oh, and George is saying double A for Avowed. Come on. Nah, I'm talking about like this is like the pre-alpha footage, right? We're talking about like footage far before it was launched. But you have to remember, Obsidian is a smaller team than Bethesda. So I don't know why everyone's expecting Avowed to be like on the same level as a big team game. They're still a smaller team. Obsidian is still a smaller team working on these games. So, I just say like rein in your expectations a little bit, because it's a smaller team. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it'll be bigger. Maybe it will be like super, super high quality stuff. I don't know.
Well, I mean, you played through Outer Worlds, right?
I just did the Outer Worlds Peril of Gorgon DLC, and I loved it. I thought it was amazing. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. So for me, if it's just as good as the Outer Worlds, but better, I'll be happy. I don't need it to be like what kind of quality. I don't need it to be on Starfield's level or God of War's level or whatever, or Horizon Zero Dawn. I just want an Obsidian RPG set in the Pillars of Eternity universe. But whatever. We have no idea what it's going to look like when it's finished. We only just saw prototype footage, And Pillow says they are 300 people now. That's not true. There's not 300 people working on Avowed, as far as I know.
Yeah, but all of Obsidian is like 300 people.
Yeah, all of Obsidian is 300 people, but all 300 people are not working on Avowed.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a sizable amount of people working on the Outer Worlds too, for example. So yeah. Yeah. What's another question?
Airfet wants to know when developers are going to utilize AMD's FSR 2.0 on the Xbox, since that was sort of added to the dev kits recently. You wrote an article about it?
I asked I've asked some people for examples of games that use FSR 1 right now, and I couldn't get one. There's a list of games that use FSR right on PC, but you don't know if those games are using it on Xbox. So it's hard to tell when they'll start using it or not, and it's hard to tell even which games are even using it. I sort of got a conspiracy theory that Chivalry 2 uses it, because one day that game inexplicably went from 1080p 30 to 1080p 60 on Xbox Series S out of the blue last summer, which was around the time that FSR 1.0 came out. But don't know. Ultimately, we don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure
either. I suppose, like, yeah, and even when they do start using it, we won't even know, because it's not like it says on the game this game uses FSR 2. You just don't know, really. Hopefully, some developers will come forward and talk about it. But
I mean, maybe like could be this year, could be next year. I don't know. Maybe nobody uses it. You never know. Sebastian wants to know, I have a question. Do you guys hear that Xbox overtook Sony in North American sales? I've not heard that.
Did not hear that.
I think they're close.
Who said that?
Well, no, I've seen a couple people say that Xbox might have overtaken them, but I still think they're a little bit behind in North America. Like, the fact that they're even close says a lot, considering, like, you know, last gen, they sort of got blown out by PlayStation. So the fact that they're even, like, within spitting distance in North America is pretty good. I mean, there's a chance that they could take North America. I mean, I know a lot of the systems they make go to xCloud, so there definitely would be more consoles sold on the Xbox side if they put those consoles in the market, but they're using them for xCloud for, you know, for the future. So we'll see. What other questions we got here? Peter says, any ideas why the Nun Massacre by Puppet Combo wasn't given the go-ahead to have a full release on Xbox? Seems strange after Murder House was deemed okay.
Which game is this?
Nun Massacre by Puppet Combo.
Nun Massacre.
I think it's a game of...
Maybe it's the religious connotation.
I
don't know.
I think it's a very violent game.
I think...
Maybe
maybe it's because it targets a specific group of people, and Microsoft doesn't want to run the risk of inspiring someone to do something like that and then getting blamed for allowing a game on their platform that targeted a specific group of people. I think it's completely rational for them to ban that game, frankly,
I think it's allowed
because
on the
of
Switch
America and the way it is.
Though.
Yeah, but I think it's still rational for them to ban that game, frankly.
Yeah, I have no idea why they banned it. Who knows? Whittier says, Jez, what happened to the Windows Central app? Articles
it's dead.
are woefully out of date, but the app is no longer in the Google Play Store.
Yeah, the app is dead, sadly. Our parent company doesn't want to invest in it, and we've moved our website to a different backend, and there's nothing we can do. The app is sadly dead, and it won't be coming back. There's nothing I can do about it. Sorry about that.
Ball16 Archive just said, do you see the PlayStation fanboy talking about Starfield get called out by God of War exec on Twitter? Indeed, I did. And that was hilarious.
That
was
Dragon
amazing.
guy, right?
Yeah, Wedwagon. Yeah. You got...
Dwagon.
Wedwagon.
Dwagon.
Redwagon.
Why Dwagon?
That's how Dealer and Colt... Because it's like a little baby. He's a little baby, you know?
Redwagon.
Yeah.
I like that. And David Rodriguez says the Nun is the monster and you are targeted. Well, I don't know. I'd have to look into it more, but the it does kind of strike me as, you know, maybe it just fell afoul of their legal department being like, oh, we don't want to touch this. I don't know. Maybe they just don't want to get sued. A lot of things Microsoft does when it comes to censorship is they look at what could happen in the political climate in America, and America's political climate is literally insane. So they're probably playing it quite safe on a number of topics around that right now. So yeah, I think that's where some of that comes from. But yeah, this whole Starfield thing was hilarious because he compared Starfield, which is a brand new IP, to the franchise God of War, which has been around for 20 years. So even then, it's a pretty unfair comparison. But if you compare Starfield to specifically God of War Ragnarok, it's a very the Google trend is much closer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and then Corey was like, you know, I can't wait to play Starfield. I'm taking days off. The game's amazing.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just, yeah.
And then Phil replied to him saying, yeah, Corey Balrog. What's his name? Balrog? It's Balrog, right?
I think so, yeah.
I don't know. I pronounced his name wrong. Sorry about that. But he seems like a really cool guy, and like he's always out there fighting against toxicity and, you know, defending you know, the industry at large and trying to not be sort of, you know, divisive and, you know, console warish. I really like him. He seems like a really cool dude, and the way he behaves just makes me want to play God of War even more, you know. But yeah, it was funny watching him get bodied.
Yeah,
it's always funny watching fanboys get bodied, right?
It is always hilarious. Brings me a great smile to my face when I see it, especially developers of the games that they love, you know? Like, oh, by the way, like, we just ratioed you. It's great. Syph says, do you all watch the TV show The Boys on Amazon? It's great. I do. I love The Boys. I'm watched the first 6 episodes and can't wait to watch the last 2 episodes. Gary Sanchez says, do you expect Hellblade 2 and Project Mara next year? Probably not Project Mara. I mean, it depends. I hope Hellblade 2 is next year. Cross my fingers. So I think you'll get one game if one of them comes out, but then the other one, will be later or whatever. Jay says, do you think that since Xbox has a Play Anywhere initiative that they'll have to have more exclusive content in order to satisfy said initiative? No, I don't think specifically for Play Anywhere. But for Game Pass, I mean, that's the whole point. That's the whole reason they bought all these studios, is that so they can constantly have content all the time in their subscription service, so it keeps people subscribed. The Play Anywhere stuff is just... It's like, hey, it's a reason for you to essentially buy a digital version of an Xbox game so you can get the PC version for free, right? So it's I think it's more of a just like a perk. Whereas like they also offer a Steam version, but you have to buy that separately. So for some people it'll be like, well, I buy everything on Steam, so I'm going to buy the Steam version. When you can make the argument, well, buying it digitally through the Xbox ecosystem is the better value because one, you get the game on console. 2, you also get the game on PC. 3, you can stream the game cloud because the digital version will give you the cloud license as well. So I view those more as like perks than really anything else. Flash Gordon says, why has nobody talked about Xbox outselling the PS5 overall in North America? One, because we don't know if it did, and I don't think we'll ever know, because it's not like Xbox is going to come out there and say it, because they said they're not going to report sales numbers. I mean, MPD might come out and say it, which then we could talk about it if MPD says it. But like if it's VG charts, like I still question VG charts methods, so like I'll never believe VG charts on anything. So unless it comes from an official source like NPD or Xbox themselves, I don't really think you'll see anybody talking about it.
Yeah.
I could see NPD saying something though. Could you, Jez, if it actually did happen, just mentioning it, or maybe like do you think?
Yeah. If they have definitive evidence that they have overtaken, I think they could probably come out and say it, because I think that's a milestone. It's a milestone for Xbox, especially in a universe where Xbox has been on the back foot, right? But I think they'd also drop the caveat that it's about stock levels, and maybe they can be like, well, in a perfect stock world, maybe Sony be winning, but you just can't say for sure, because then you could come back and say, well, Xbox is putting half of its silicon into xCloud. Maybe Xbox would be ahead if it wasn't for that. It's hard to say. You can't say one.
Plus, I don't think Microsoft will ever announce it, because that opens up a can of worms. Because you said you never would announce it, and then you did announce it, and then if you do get outsold again and you stop reporting numbers, I mean, it's just kind of just like, well, that's a bad look, right? So, I think we'll only hear about it from MPD if it happens.
Yeah. I want to answer Arafat Shafin, who asks, did Ninja Theory get inspired by End of Evangelion? I never know how to pronounce that. I'm not sure what you mean, mate. For Hellblade? I mean, I think a lot of people get inspired by that movie. I bet Rand hasn't seen it. The anime movie, End of Evangelion. I don't know. When I was playing Hellblade, those whispering sort of giving me Evangelion flashbacks, which is a movie about Shinji's mental depression. Maybe. I'm sure a lot of the developers have seen that movie and that show, because it's you probably, Rand, it's probably one anime you probably like, to be honest. And like, anime isn't a genre. It's an art style. right? And I think you probably like Evangelion, if that's how it's pronounced. I never know how to pronounce it. But I don't know. They probably pull inspiration from all sorts of different places. It'd be interesting to sit down and ask them about that sometime. I haven't interviewed a game dev for forever since the pandemic. I want you to answer this question from Aaron Hazley, who says, Rand, do you not have Prime Gaming? Because I'm sick of your basic Fall Guys character and they have lots of costumes available on Prime Gaming. Yeah, Rand, why haven't you customized your Fall Guys character?
Because I couldn't give two shits about customization. Have you guys not listened to the podcast? Hello? I don't care about how my guy looks. It's funny because my friend said my friend said the same. Look, I hadn't played Fall Guys on the PC. This was the first time I played Fall Guys was when it came to Xbox. So yes, I do have Prime, right? I have it for shipping packages as well as watching Prime Video. But I didn't have any costumes because I never played the game before. All my buddies have all these cool costumes because they played it on PC when it came out, but I didn't. So I'm sorry that my character is super basic. This is footage from when it launched. I know you can get like the Halo stuff now, or like Master Chief or the Grunt or whatever. But the thing is, I'm not going to pay for that. I don't pay for cosmetics. I'm sorry. Like, I don't know how much it is for the Fall Guys stuff. I'm not spending $20 or $10 on Halo Fall Guys. I'm not spending that money on any cosmetic for any game, period. Not happening.
I kind of like battle passes. I'm not gonna lie. I've kind of gotten into them now. Like when I buy a battle pass, it's like, yeah, I'm gonna max out this battle pass and get my money's worth. I'm destroying the industry, man. Like I enjoy battle passes.
I'm destroying the industry because I'm playing these free to play games and not spending a dime.
Wow, right.
I mean, I played Warzone for 250 hours. Didn't spend a single dollar on it. Got 250 hours.
Yeah, but Aaron Hazley says it's free with Prime Gaming. So if you've got Prime Gaming, you get free cosmetics, Rand.
I don't know. I guess maybe I haven't linked my Prime Gaming to my Xbox account or something. I don't know.
I tried to link it, but it wouldn't work for me for some reason.
All I know is when I was looking through my outfits, I didn't have anything. So sorry, my little. You have to click on it. I don't know. It's not that important. I'm probably not going to play that much Fall Guys anymore, anyways. I might buy a costume for Fall Guys right now. You know, because the way I look at it, like
they're really expensive.
$20 for like an outfit. That's like a book, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's like a book.
A book?
A book.
Books are lame. Books are lame. Books are lame. I appreciate cosmetic free-to-play games because the alternative is Diablo Immortal, which is pay to win and disgustingly pay to win. So I actually like cosmetic battle passes are definitively the lesser evil, and I am glad that they exist, and I hope that they become more popular than the pay-to-win stuff.
Hey, I'll just say I'm fine with that because there's not any cosmetic that they could release for any of these games that would make me want to buy it. So
I love cosmetics, man. I love it. I will buy the cosmetics for you.
Okay. I'll play Warzone 2.0, not spend a dime. I played Rainbow Six Siege, didn't spend anything on cosmetics. Didn't spend anything on PUBG. Didn't spend anything Apex Legends.
You're so cool.
Didn't spend anything in Halo. I don't care. I just don't care. It's just whatever. I mean, you do you.
Yeah, you're cool, man.
No, it's just great.
You're super cool.
Because it's great for me because the industry went down this trend about cosmetics, and I don't care about that. So it's like, all right, I'm not going to spend any money.
You're so badass.
It's amazing. You're right. That's why you do the podcast with me.
You're so badass and cool.
Yeah, I'm sorry that you fall for it.
I'm cool and edgy.
I'm sorry that you care. But
congrats! You're so badass and cool. But Rand, I just thought of a great thing that no developers thought about. Why can't I gift people cosmetics? Because if you won't buy a dumb cosmetic, that's fair enough. But why can't I buy you one as a gift? I would totally do that. I would buy you a dumb cosmetic for a gift.
Can you not gift like currency?
I don't think you can. But I don't want to gift currency. I want to control what dumb cosmetic you
So
get.
you couldn't like gift me Fall Guy currency, so I'd have to use it on Fall Guy.
Yeah, I don't think I can. Maybe you can. I don't know.
Uh,
Man, this game's really hard.
Interesting. Let's see. Sonic Chief says, "Do you guys think Xbox is done with buying independent studios and only focusing on publishers, or do you think someone after ABK we might see someone like Certain Affinity join Xbox? They're not done buying, period. Whether that's independent studios or publishers. So,
I think they'll buy independent studios and publishers. Maybe like their next acquisition is like an independent studio, which they can get over and done with pretty quickly. Okay. So you can gift skins in the Xbox store, but not currency. You can gift cosmetics in Fortnite. Okay, and you can on Warzone. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
Ulfric says, Jez, I recently heard a modder from Fallout London was hired. Do you think that could be a sign that Fallout 5 could be in production? Pre-production?
Possibly. Definitely possible. Have you seen that Fallout London project, by the way?
No, I have not, no.
At all?
Nope.
So Fallout London is like it's going to be a mod for Fallout 4, but it's basically like it's all of London as a free DLC that some team of modders have made over the last few years. It's literally crazy how much work that's gone into that. And the Bethesda started hiring the modders who worked on that shit, which is amazing. But Todd Howard already said that Fallout 5 is coming. I want to believe that they're developing Fallout 5 alongside Elder Scrolls 6, because otherwise we're going to be waiting.
You're going to be waiting
8 years?
Yeah, you're going to be waiting a while.
8 years?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to wait 8 years for Fallout.
Too bad. You're going to be
It'll
waiting.
be Fallout IRL by
How
then.
old will you be in 8 years?
Oh god.
Will you
44?
even be gaming? Will you even be
Jesus.
gaming?
Will they even be alive?
Will the world even exist in 8 years?
Oh man.
Let's just
Exactly.
say Fallout 5 could be reality and not a video game.
The ultimate metaverse.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Thank you, Hitman, for the super chat. And we got he also did another one that says Xbox Series S is for $240 right now from seller Ant Online. So pretty cheap for the Series S. $240. Man, when that system gets to $199 in a couple years, whew, it's gonna sell like hotcakes.
Yeah.
R.L. Stein says, do you think Xbox will be pissed if God of War Ragnarok releases on 11/11/22? Probably not. I mean, it's just a date.
They won't be pissed.
I mean, game got delayed and there's no other games releasing on that day, so I don't really think it'll be Sony trying to show up Xbox. I think it's going to be more just like that's just an open date that is on the calendar before Black Friday, where our partners like EA have a Need for Speed game on the 4th, and Call of Duty's releasing on October 28th, and supposedly the new Avatar game's releasing on November 18th. So like, there's nothing releasing on the 11th now. Obviously, if Starfield was coming out on the 11th, then there'd be 0% chance God of War would be releasing also on the 11th. But hey, they left the day, so I mean, why not? Why not take it? It's open. Yeah. Anyways, trying to see if there's any more questions. Snowdragon says, will the push to NFCS digital market and ownership lead us to being able to sell digital games?
That's a good question. I personally don't see that happening. I mean, it's a nice thought, but I just don't see it. There's not a huge amount of calls for it to happen. I think what would have to happen is like one of the big platform holders would have to do it and prove that it's really popular and can also be done in a way that isn't exploitative, as in like you just play a game and then sell it straight away and the devs lose money and stuff. I mean, it's interesting to think about, but it's hard. It's hard to say for sure. Ultimately, it's not going to happen if it's not a benefit to publishers. If publishers feel like it's not a benefit to them, it won't happen. So
Yeah,
we just
exactly.
need to sort of, I don't know, find out, I guess.
The problem with it is like, I remember that Xbox survey years and years ago, and it was just like, oh, well, what if we gave you like $5 out of a $60 game you purchased? Which, when you think about it, it's like, man, that's really low because I could take that same physical game and trade it in. But it's like, I don't know, like none of the platform holders have a reason to allow you to sell your digital games back to them, right? So, yeah, I don't know. I think it would have to be like agreed upon. I also really don't see that future happen. I mean, like NFTs and the whole, like, that whole market's kind of crashed and burned now, hasn't it? So
NFT, yeah, NFTs is dead. Like you wouldn't need the blockchain to implement something like trading games, right? You could
the
do that
crypto
with a
bros
SQL server.
would say that you did, bro. You would need that.
Yeah, crypto NFTs are just a scam. You don't need NFTs to implement something like this. Just a regular database.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it would be nice to be able to sell your digital games. I'm just like you said, the publishers would have to be on board, and they probably aren't. So, yeah, probably not. But I think with that, we are gonna end the show. It's been 3 hours and 15 minutes show. Like, we were worried we weren't gonna have anything to talk about, and somehow we did a podcast for over 3 hours. Which is incredible. Anyways, thank you guys so much for being here. We appreciate each and every one of you. I hope you have a great rest of the weekend. I know it's July 4th here in the States, although that is Monday. So, hope everybody has a safe weekend. We'll be back on Friday with another episode of the show, and hopefully something happens. Somebody do something, right? So we can have something to talk about. A little bit more tangible than talking about a mythical Xbox handheld for whatever amount of time we talked about it for, but whatever. Thank you guys, and we'll see you next week. Keep it gaming.
Take care, everybody.
Later.
And man.